live. It's a Wednesday night. We're going to be joined by Aaron Lavarco out of Israel because there is the plan to fully occupy Gaza. There's also ongoing, I'll show you a screenshot, what's reportedly to be the cover of Time magazine, a fake photo claiming the Israelis are starving the Gazans. But yeah, I will show you a video tonight. Some very hefty, shall we say, even obese, one of them, obese Islamic dudes in a tunnel, eating and rejoicing about all the rice, all the food, all the bananas, all the grapes. And you'll see the fat arm, the fat pudgy arm and hand of a terrorist handing this poor guy, this Israeli, who's been captured since October 7th, who is now skin and bones, digging his own grave in a tunnel. He's being handed something, and you'll see the very fat arm and hand of the terrorist. Well, you want to know why they're so well off, is they're eating. We'll show you the videos of them in the tunnels, eating like kings, while the world buys the lie that it's Israel that's starving the Gazans. No, it's Hamas. It's stealing the food and starving the folks in Gaza. We'll get an update from Aaron Lavarco on the ground in Israel. Then we're going to be joined by Mark Mitchell. What's going on with the Republican Party? Are they headed for a major defeat in the House and maybe the Senate in the midterm? What must they do to turn the course, to turn the direction toward their people turning out to vote for them? And let's talk about the ratings, Donald Trump's ratings. Where are they? Where is he on the polling? What's it telling us? J.D. Vance, he's got a meeting taking place at the vice president's residence with the FBI director, the attorney general, Susie Wiles, chief of staff, apparently over the Epstein files. There's a lot of, there, not according to who? According to Vance, he's saying that meeting's not happening. Well, it's not over the Epstein files. Okay, well, that's what's circulating. We'll see. But Mark Mitchell thinks they should be meeting about that tonight. You'll hear it, because he thinks that they need to get this under control real fast. All right. So I guess here we go. Yeah. Is VP Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation? Trump says, I don't know. It's completely fake news. Oh, well, all right. We'll see. But it does need to be dealt with. Mark Mitchell has the polling to show it. And what about, did a bunch of evangelical Christians not go to the polls and vote last year? That's what we were being told by one pollster. Mark Mitchell is going to tell you why that's not true. Then let's talk to Nick Helsher. He says that RFK Jr. has made one of the most important decisions in his entire term thus far as Secretary of Health and Human Services. It's the biggest decision, the biggest action he has taken yet against Big Pharma, the vaccines. What has he done? We'll find out from Nick Helsher, epidemiologist and administrator at the McCullough Foundation. Then we're going to be joined by Dr. Bashima Williams. We always love our visits with Dr. Bashima Williams. She has sent to me a device here that will, well, we're going to find out what the device is. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, yet, but she's going to tell me tonight what this device is she sent to me. And we're going to talk about many other health-related issues. People love our health conversations. So we'll talk to her, and I guess that's about it tonight, right? Oh, Chad and Katie are going to check in. They have the wellness, New Spring Wellness Center. We're going to check in with them, too. Some of our folks who watch and listen have been going there to the Ozarks to get treatment, particularly now with the spike in drugs from people getting on opioids or the drugstore candy drugs, the, what do you call them, the gas station drugs. Get into all that. Before we get going tonight, Mark Mitchell first out of the gate. Look at this. President Trump, he should not be saying this, but here we go.
You were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the entire
on what?
Medical community and with you. What is going on?
Research on what?
Into mRNA vaccines.
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a pass. With Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago. and we're on to other things. But we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it in tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases. And I think we're doing really well. Yes.
I don't know why he doesn't say, I was led astray by these clowns, Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, and I was led astray, and I'm sorry, and move on. That's all he has to say. Don't you think, Logan? That's all he's got to say. Instead of saying it was wonderful, it was great, it was effective. Come on. We want President Trump to succeed, and we want his people to not become demoralized and frustrated, and this become a big distraction. Just say I was misled. I was misled. You guys all know about the deep state and the medical deep state. I was misled. That's all you got to say. No, everyone will, with a sound mind, will say, yeah, we could see how that could happen. And we had all this. Remember when they had some collegiate group or some group out there that was putting out all these these studies on how many people were going to die. It was like in the millions, 1 million plus or whatever. And so, yeah, it was freaking everybody out. Imperial College or what it was called. So, yeah, we just say, I was given bad data. I was given bad information, right? And, yeah, RFK Jr. is looking into this stuff. That's his area of expertise. But I don't know. I wouldn't be standing around praising warp speed and the shot and all that, and the distribution and all. No. All right, we're going to get going here real quick with Mark Mitchell Rasmussen. Just remember real quick, folks, we're here. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. I'm going to make this real quick because I got a lot to do tonight. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. We have to have the resources to keep it all going. Go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors if you would. You'll find everything there. We have a lower third for that one. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors. And you'll find everything. The Gatatana, which is the phytoplankton, say it right, House. Phytoplankton, the Numi Swish with the glutathione to detox my cells. Some studies show remove mercury from my brain, helping prevent dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. We got the Bella Grace, which of course I take each and every day. We have so many things there for you folks. The satellite phones, the solar generators, the water purifiers that filter out all the chemicals and poisons that you do not want to drink. Unless, of course, you want to get cancer. Then drink up. Have a double. Have a triple. No, you don't want that. Get the water filter I use for my kitchen sink, the water I drink with my coffee. It's the water I give to Dolly. I even have one for my shower, so I shower in good, clean water because my skin absorbs this too. So I don't want to be absorbing these chemicals. So we have it all here. Worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Joining me now is Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Polling. Rasmussen, I guess. Tomato, I don't know. Tomato. He's going to be a keynote speaker at our 22nd annual National Worldview Weekend Conference, Friday night, October 3rd, Saturday, October 4th, here in beautiful Collierville, Tennessee. Germantown, Collierville, part of the Mid-South. They're beautiful. You got to look it up. Collierville, Germantown, rated the 2 safest towns in Tennessee on more than one poll in the last few years. In fact, do you know our town square in Collierville was rated the #1 town square in America a couple years ago as well? It's a beautiful town, folks. It's located outside of Memphis. It's a beautiful town. It's safe, and you're going to love it. The theater is gorgeous. It's owned by our town. They're renting it to me at a very reasonable price. We're passing the savings on to you. Brought the tickets way down in price because we're saving money. We're not trying to make money. We're just trying to break even. So come join us and hear Mark in person. He's going to do a special talk for us based on polling. What is the worldview? What's the worldview of Americans? What are their attitudes, values, feelings, and beliefs on major issues? How does their worldview impact their values, and how does their values impact their actions? What's the worldview of the average American? He's going to be bringing us some very interesting polling. He joins us tonight with some interesting polling related to Epstein and more, and the latest polling on President Donald Trump's popularity. Mark, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, great to be here.
You
Too
look
long
like,
didn't read. Americans are still Christian, and they really care about accountability.
Really? Those are 2 big ones?
Yeah, 100%. We can talk about that tonight for sure.
So Americans still want to be considered Christian, not atheist, not agnostic, not Islamist.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bad religious research out there. George Barna had a very strong headline back in September or October that 30 million plus evangelical Christians were going to sit the election out. I went into the field and did a national poll, a pretty sizable one. It was sponsored by some great people, and found that no, that wasn't the case. Of the people who identified as evangelical Christians, only 8% said they weren't going to vote. Most of those people had a pretty good reason, like being a prior convicted felon or not being a citizen. So, no, evangelicals didn't sit out the election. And yes, America still identifies as religious. We've asked many, many, many religious questions over and over again, and roughly we get about 70% Christian identifying. But one of the ones that stood out to me is we asked, I think it was about 2 years ago now, is Jesus Christ the Son of God who came to earth to save our sins? Yes or no? And yes wins by 72%. And I think no is only in the teens. And so, yeah, Americans might not be going to church as much. They might not trust the institutions that deliver their religious teachings as much.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
I mean, we all know why.
Yeah, we all know why.
Complete assault, a postmodern assault on every institution in America.
So what's with George Barna? Well, why do you think he's doing that? Surely, if you can figure out the polling correctly, can't they? Is there an agenda here, or is it bad polling?
I really don't know. I mean, maybe my flavor of people differs slightly from him, but 30 million people slightly, I really do not know. I mean, 21% of American electorate, according to me, was evangelical Christian. That's a pretty big number. That's, do the math, that's like 30 million people. So his numbers say that all of them are sitting out. That just doesn't make any sense to me, period, whatsoever. So, yeah, I don't really know how that happens. But the thing is that when you get a headline like that, people pick it up. Charlie Kirk was carrying that. We all know how basically one of the biggest ways that research is used for lying in America is cherry picking this stuff. And that's what's happening right now with Democrat favorability numbers. Everybody's out there spreading this Quinnipiac poll that 19% favorability for the Democrat Party. That number is garbage. You just throw that in the trash. Quinnipiac is not a serious institution. Basically, what I've heard from people in the know within the industry is that they will literally give you the result you want if you pay them money. And so for some reason, the Democrats are benefiting right now. I don't know how, from them thinking that their favorability is super low. I pulled Democrat favorability. I got 47% for Democrat, 48% for Republican, which makes pretty, a lot of sense in a very divided country like this. Mm-hmm. Nobody's citing my poll. None of the Democrats that are trying to remoralize people to say, no, the Quinnipiac number is garbage. Look at Rasmussen. They have the Democrat favorability number super high. My Biden approval rating was actually higher than most people's for most of 21 to 25 too. There were some times when it was lower, but not most of the time. Quinnipiac had Biden approval at 33. Nobody on the left was running Rasmussen headlines that Joe Biden's approval rating isn't that low. It's in the 40s. Joe Biden left office with 43, 44%. And that makes sense for a country that went 46, 47% to Kamala Harris. And so, yeah, there's a lot of fake research out there. And I can tell you this also, George Barna gets a hell of a lot more money than I do, too. I don't know where. I don't know how. I don't know who's funding it. But it's a lot of money. He's probably using Live Operator. He probably polled 50,000 people. So it is what it is. Honest polling is kind of hard business model, but we're trying to make it work.
But just because you poll people with Live Operators doesn't mean your polling is any more accurate, correct?
No, it's more like having the option to reach a different type of human being. And so we still do landline robodial IVR, which I think is a very great method because Live Operators insert some bias, which could be understood and corrected for sure, and could be, prevented by training the people right. But we get landline robodial IVR for people over 50. But those are people who tend to turn out in midterm elections. They tend to be civically active and politically attentive. And then we also get the same kind of online panel respondents that other people get for younger voters. And there are a lot of pollsters who are only online panels. Those are people who literally will just tell you whatever to get done with the survey as fast as possible because they're getting paid. They might say they're going to vote. They might not show up. They don't even know what Republicans and Democrats are. They might not even be citizens. And so we get both of those types. I think they complement each other very well. But a lot of the problems is that many of the pollsters now are doing online only. And so you get an electorate that doesn't really necessarily match. You're not hearing from the older people. You're not getting these religious people that still go to church than I am. And so it's tough. But if I had a lot more budget, I would be spamming people on SMS. I would be dialing people. Some of those surveys are like $30 a complete. My average is like $1 a complete. And so, it's like finer stuff that I wish I could consume. And yet really no money gets allocated to understanding true public opinion, because none of these places are polling like the real questions either. I asked a whole bunch of questions about biblical worldviews and about values and about what trust in your own religious organization in that poll. I don't know what George Barna had in there.
Wow.
I didn't hear any of those headlines though.
Interesting. Fascinating. Well, I'm glad you're around. I really am. Let me go to this headline. You reposted this. Trump officials will meet Wednesday at J.D. Vance's home to craft a unified response to the Epstein scandal. The meeting will include J.D. Vance, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Now, why are they doing this at J.D. Vance's home there at the conservatory, the VP house?
I can only imagine that this is an issue that J.D. Vance is more concerned about and knows more about than Donald Trump. And because I don't think Donald Trump cares about this issue that much. I don't think he really ran on it. And for some reason, he doesn't really understand. Maybe somebody didn't explain to him how important this is to people and why. The reason that this is a problem is because it was an accountability canary in the coal mine. We know that 30% trust the federal government, 70% do not. We actually just did some polling about this stuff with the Russian collusion hoax. 70% of America wants these people thrown in jail if they manipulated intelligence to get Trump. So there's a very strong pro-arrest signal. 60 to 70% of Americans think that accountability means arrests. And so when you take something like Epstein that's been in the headlines for decades, and you say, there's nothing to see here, case closed, let's move on. Americans all of a sudden, back in February and March with the binders, Americans didn't care. They're like, yeah, whatever, okay, they made a mistake. But this was like, no, we're going to try to bury the Epstein thing now. And it was a complete mess. We went right into the field after that Axios article and the Pam Bondi case closed statement. And we found that, no, 47% still think Epstein was murdered, despite what Kash Patel said. Only 31% say he committed suicide. Only half of Republicans, only 33% of Republicans think he committed suicide. So Republicans don't even believe the Republican head of the FBI. And then, do you believe the FBI and DOJ are telling the truth that Epstein didn't keep a client list? 56% said no, 21% said yes. Only 15% of independents said yes. And which is closer to your opinion, the case is closed or there are dozens of powerful and wealthy offenders who need to face justice? 16% say case closed. 68%, there's your 70% number, say that no, there's a whole bunch of wealthy and powerful predators that have to go to jail. I know that this polling, which was done just days after Pam Bondi said case closed, I know that it got to the White House and landed on the desk in the Oval Office. Ooh. And yet the very next day, Donald Trump was out there calling his supporters weak and saying he didn't want them if they care about the Epstein scandal. This could have been put to bed there. They could have said, wow, America is really concerned about this. Maybe we didn't understand this. Maybe this is about two-tiered justice. And they could have said, well, we're going to investigate this, and it would have gone away. They literally could have just run out the clock. Yeah, you're right. Kash Patel should get to the bottom of it, and they could have worked on they literally could have covered it up. And now the problem is that they didn't. He attacked his followers. Then the Democrats ran with it. And then just a week ago, we got back numbers that say that, no, now Americans do think it's a cover up. And the subtext to all of this is that Donald Trump was +8 in net approval rating in mid-June. He's at underwater 4 points right now. So he's down 12 points from his recent high. And this has to be one of the reasons. He's underwater 16 points with independents. Independents are super pissed about the Epstein trial and how it came out. But this question, how likely is it that Trump administration officials are engaged in a cover-up to hide Donald Trump's involvement with Epstein? Now, this is before Ghislaine Maxwell came out and said that he wasn't involved. But 45% said very likely, 15% said somewhat, including 41% of Republicans 81% of Democrats are out there fundraising on this and banging on this Epstein drum. So I predicted weeks ago that the way that Donald Trump handled this, it was not going to go away, and Democrats were going to run with this as the biggest unforced heir political gift that Donald Trump has handed them.
And why? Why are the Democrats running with it if it's going to implicate Democrats?
Because it's all performative. They're not going to actually release anything. They're just going to run on it. You and I both know that. In fact, they'll probably have a limited hangout, operation when they gain control of the House. They'll have the Epstein Commission, and Adam Schiff, if he doesn't get convicted of mortgage fraud, will probably be the head of it. And the whole point will be to slander Republicans and put out fake information. And they'll probably have Dan Crenshaw on there, and he'll probably cry crocodile tears like Adam Kinzinger. Like, that's what's going to happen. We all know it. And right now, the Democrats are going to win the midterms. Republicans are down 4 points.
Do you write this stuff in your head as you're talking? Or have
I'm just riffing here.
You're really good at this, by the way. The analogies, that's very good. You paint a very good picture.
Well, thanks. A picture of frustration and inadequate accountability for, there is no justice in America and voters demand it. Now, you
just said something there, though. You said that the Republicans are going to lose the midterms.
Yeah. If the midterm elections were held today, Democrats would have a moderate pickup and gain control of the House. They would probably lie, cheat, and steal to get enough Senate seats to have a one-seat majority. That's what would happen. And with a couple of really weak Republican senators, they would get literally whatever they wanted. They would probably get rid of the filibuster rule, and they would pump through as much stuff as they could and make Donald Trump just veto things. They would probably create all of these fake performative laws that were like, give Americans more food act, or make groceries more inexpensive act. Pass it, put it on Trump's desk, and make him veto it. Mm-hmm. And that's what they would do. They would use that from 26 to 28 and say, look at that. Donald Trump isn't really an economic populist. What the Republicans could do right now is preempt that by saying, you know what, Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster rule. Let's just do it in advance, and let's put out a popular one-page bill every day from now until November 26. Give Americans all of the very specific things that are popular that they've wanted. And it's not going to happen. I went on Matt Gaetz' show, and he said, you know why it's not going to happen, Mark? Because then they can't cram all their DC garbage into it. They can't wet their beaks. They can't, give kickbacks to their campaign backers. It's really that bad.
So in other words, the Republicans deserve to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and people fundamentally know that. All of them know.
You just explained kickbacks, under-the-table deals, sweetheart deals. How are they any different than the Democrats, other than they say they're pro-life, they say they're for these values, but talk is cheap, right? Yeah, how are they any different than the Democrats when it comes to inside baseball, serving deals, under the table? How are they any different?
The difference between Republicans and Democrats is that the Republican Party is easier to fix. The Democrat Party has a very vicious, well-oiled, well-funded machine of positive and negative feedback loops that ensure complete towing of the party line. They will not suffer.
And that's because of the media too, right? The media helps with that.
Includes the media. That's one of the bludgeons that they use 100%. They also probably use USAID funding and Act Blue laundering and all these other things. They probably have a whole web of, blackmail operations. They will, brutally primary each other. They will do all this stuff, okay? The Republicans, their problem is that most of them are actually principled people who are trying to represent their constituents. And there is no mechanism or machine. There's just an establishment who sits there, and their job is to take as much donor money as possible and allocate it in a way that's better for them. And they say they're trying to win. They think they're trying to win. But to them, winning means standing on as little as possible. So it's easy to market people as moderates and then spend as much of that money as possible, making sure that all the consultants get rich and getting and basically feasting off the crumbs of all that. That's the problem. And that little entrenched class, I don't know who it is. I don't know the names, but I know that it's people like Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy and all of their little, their little apparatchiks in the NRCC and the NRSC and all across the country in the state and county parties, all of these people who don't really necessarily care if the Republican Party stands for economic populism or not. They've seen trends come and go. They're probably accurate in thinking that MAGA is on, it's over the hill. There will be something new. And so they're just waiting for that. We already know that they're established. They're fighting MAGA tooth and nail. They're going to come after JD Vance hard. Look at how much money they threw at Ron DeSantis.
And when you say they, you're talking about, when you say they, you're not talking about the Democrats right now. You're talking about the neocons, right?
Oh, not neocons. That's not necessarily the right word. In my opinion, the neocons are the USAID-funded pro-war, pro-Israel people that are common cause with the Democrats. I'm talking more about people who, it's like the people who look at David Gilio in California 15, and he ran against a rhino, and they said, no, you're not allowed to donate to David Gilio because he's MAGA, and MAGA can't win in this, even though that Trump outperformed the rhino opponent who won because his own consultants that were forced on him by the establishment were door knocking for his opponent. His opponent went on to the 118th Congress and was the leftmost voting Republican and then underperformed Trump by 5 points. And they're going to run the guy again because he's friends with Kevin McCarthy. Now, why does he keep getting that? I can only imagine that there's probably something surreptitious going on. And so none of this has been rooted out. It all is still there. Donald Trump has not fixed the Republican Party. They basically got Michael Whatley in the RNC, and I don't even know if that guy's MAGA or not. I don't know what changes he's made. I've certainly not heard of any changes in the RNC. He's been there less than 2 years, and he's going to bounce again and run for office. And I hear that the person they got going in there is even worse. And so these organizations have not been changed, period, whatsoever. And it's like, okay, well, our political party's great. Do they have to be perfect? Well, if they stand in the way of Americans getting what they want. And so I say to you, look at the 119th Congress and what have we gotten out of it? Mike Johnson made some very, very vocal vows. You go back and look at his November 12th statement on the halls of the steps of Congress. He talked about erecting a MAGA banner over the halls of Congress, and how he was going to give Americans what they finally deserved because of the mandate. There's so much strong language in there. And yet, what did they really pass? They passed the Lake and Riley Act. They passed something that has to do with crypto. They passed a whole bunch of 25 laws that mean nothing, like the American Native Indian environmental, something name, reservation name pact or something, all this garbage. And they passed basically the one big beautiful bill, which was a Washington, D.C. business as usual, make sure everybody gets paid bill with a few of Trump's executive orders shoved in there. And I don't think the blame can be laid at Mike Johnson. I think that bill landed on his desk and Trump called him up and said, listen, I'm sorry, this is what you have to work with. Get as much of my stuff in it as possible because I don't want it to look like we're failures. And so they got this bill across the finish line. All the leftist pollsters say that it was underwater 20 couple points. My polling said it was actually up a little bit, and yet people were confused about what it did. Republicans by 4-1 margin said that it didn't cut enough of the deficit. But what I can tell you is it didn't move his numbers at all. So again, he peaked in June. Literally, he peaked the day that Israel attacked Iran. And I don't necessarily know if correlation is causality there, but you have to admit there was a week of chaos when people thought we were going to have regime change in the Middle East, right? The one big beautiful bill passed, again, while his numbers plunged. And then his numbers hit rock bottom right as this Epstein stuff came out. And so he's been kicking around at roughly the lowest of his term. The only time he did 1 point worse was when the stock market imploded 1,500 points, the S&P, right? Whatever. So, I mean, it's bad. His numbers could be worse.
He doesn't know this. He doesn't know any of this that you're talking about right now, does he?
I think the White House follows me. Yeah, I think he does know. I think people
I know people in the White House know it. People in the administration know it. Does President Trump know all this?
I think there's an information gatekeeping layer. I think he's also partly right to focus on the positive stuff. I mean, once we got past the mistakes he made on Epstein, I think this JD Vance thing though, it looks like somebody who cares about this needs to recommend changes, and there need to be changes.
Well, it's in the best interest of J.D. Vance if he wants to be the Republican nominee and win, right?
Yeah, he needs to lay a lot of groundwork for his 2028 run.
Have you
And I
polled,
think
by the
that-
way, a Vance Rubio ticket? Have you polled that?
No, we haven't done we've done a few top of the ticket head-to-heads in which JD Vance, and some of these were months ago. Recently, his numbers have gone up. And I've looked at other polling that's very positive for him. So we had him beating AOC and Newsom, but not Bernie Sanders. And then we saw in Overton Insight another new pollster who is, I think, okay, a little bit left of me. He had him trailing Kamala Harris by 3 points. I think in my numbers, they'd probably be roughly even, but you have to understand how little he's been on the national stage. Like, she had $3 billion of name recognition just months ago. And so that's pretty good performance. Like, he hasn't fully converted all of the Trump voters to him. And I think he'll have a harder time building the same big tent coalition that Trump has, especially after. I mean, right now, only 38% of Trump 2024 voters have a very favorable impression of the Republican Party. And 60% of Republicans say that Republicans in Congress aren't delivering on Trump's mandate. That's going to be a problem for J.D. Vance. But he's going to have to redefine MAGA, and he's probably going to have to get new donors and put a new infrastructure in place, and hopefully one that's more aggressive than Trump at challenging who gets primaried and how the principles of what his platform is get shoved down the throats of the establishment Republicans. I really hope they change the managerial level. And like that, again, that's something nobody's talking about. Like, who are these people that keep the Republican Party focused on things that are better for them and not for voters?
Well, and I would also suggest to the vice president, whoever is his gatekeeper, that he broaden his interviews out, because we've tried to get him on our broadcast, and obviously we would be a friendly network to him and the administration, and we don't even get return phone calls. We get emails back saying, "Oh, yeah, we'll run it up the flagpole," but we never hear anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I suspect
and
that
we're not a
there's
small network. I
probably-
mean, we're doing up to 1 million views a day. Last week we had one video alone that did over 2 million views. So we're on 74 Christian radio stations. We're not a small, outlet, but apparently, again, someone doesn't seem to understand what it takes to win when it comes to grabbing that evangelical base that you talk about. We have been doing this 35 years and are loaded up with the evangelical base to the broadcast, but they don't seem to, they want to run over and be interviewed by a lot of podcasts that a lot of evangelicals won't watch because of the language that they're using.
I think they're in a different media mode. I think that they were in scorched earth a year ago, right? They were literally turning over every stone. And I think that changed. I think the first couple of months were flood the zone. And I don't know if that was intentional, but they were putting out a lot of substance, a lot of things that were actually really freaking big news. Like Doge releases were really big. All of the stuff, all the executive orders that Trump was putting out were getting a lot of attention. And so they had the media higher ground. And in that environment, I think they're right to not do that many interviews. I think just keeping it tight and having Trump focus on putting this stuff out in pressers. And also the stuff that Elon was doing was very good. Unfortunately, the whole Elon Doge thing was basically, imploded. The Republicans killed Doge and Elon Musk and turned him into their best ally, turned him into their biggest enemy. Basically, he's going to put all his money behind a party that's going to take more Republican voters than Democrats by a 2-to-1 margin.
Well, let's stop right there, because that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
That is a huge deal. So you think the Elon Musk funded and started party is going to actually deliver victory to the Democrats?
Yes. Every place there is an American candidate, it will ensure a Democrat victory. We asked this. I mean, if Elon Musk's third party had candidates on the ballot in your state, how likely is it you would vote for them? Republicans, it is 18% very likely. Democrats, it's 9%.
So he's going to draw away the Republicans.
Yeah. And voters.
So is Kamala Harris, is she
that.
going to run for president? And Kamala Harris, if this goes down, she could win.
Yeah, with stuff like this, 100%. A lot of people voted for Trump and then said, you know what? Trump needs Republicans to win also. And so Republicans did as well, if not better than Trump on the ballot, even though Trump has a higher favorability rating than the Republican Party. So that's wild. And the Republican Party doesn't have a high favorability rating. It's just not that great. And like we said before on your show, 60% of Republican voters think that Republicans in Congress are not delivering on the Trump mandate. But J.D. Vance will probably have a smaller coalition. Republicans will have probably a worse brand reception. And so that creates drags. And so Kamala Harris is also a loser who's been out of the media attention. And so maybe she'll underperform. And maybe Democrats will have worse fundraising. I think we're going to see, I think things are starting to heat up and get a little bit, 2 weeks ago, I said Democrats are up 4 on the generic ballot. It looks like a Democrat win. And that was on the fact that the legislative agenda of these Republicans has just been absolutely horrible. It just looks, and I know they don't have a supermajority in the Senate. I get that. And I would love for them to fix that. But they've given us nothing. They really have. But they promised big, and Americans expected big, and Americans don't give a crap about your Senate rules. They just don't. They don't care about the parliamentarian. Like, stop crying and fix it, right? But what now I feel, what I was saying is Republicans need a plan. They need something big.
So we need a contract with America like Newt Gingrich did.
Well, yeah, but it's like, why are you going to promise Americans something when you're in power now? So I heard about a 2026 legislative agenda that they're trying to put together. You still have a year and a quarter on this one. What are you doing about it? Absolutely nothing. What are they going to do in September? I know that Comer is going to drag Bill Clinton in front of the House Oversight Committee. That's something, but
is that going to be on television? Is that going to be on television?
I don't think so. And he'll probably defy the subpoena, and he'll probably not get convicted like Steve Bannon. But I'm just saying, some people are doing something, and yet we see nothing out of the legislative agenda. So now what I see...
So if you had to tell the Republicans 1 or 2 items to pick right now and pass legislation on and have President Trump sign it, what would those 1 or 2 be?
Oh, I mean, come on. Like, why do we have to fight to finish the wall? Why do we have to fight to get voter ID? Why have we not heard anything about election integrity? Why do we have an E-Verify system federally that half the states don't use? Like, why can't we not get a one-page bill to do paper ballots or
100% agree with that.
Election audits? Yeah,
I mean, France does paper ballots. Other countries do paper ballots and count in one night. Why can't we get a one-page bill for paper ballots? Exactly right.
Yeah. How about some congressional reform acts? Like, let's ban stock trading or stuff like that. That stuff doesn't have to be constitutional amendments. Let's just get it passed. And the point is, though, is that if you take, instead of naming some DC mess that 95% of it goes to paying people and 5% of it is actually substance for the American people, if it was very simple, 100% substance, MSNBC has to cover that law, right? It has to cover that law. And so right now it's not happening. And so right now the Republican plan for winning looks like it's to gerrymander the crap out of 5 or 6 Republican states. And it's like, okay, I commend those states for stepping up and playing the same tactics that Democrats have for decades. But at the end of the day, you got to admit that it's kind of gross. Like, it's not the way a representative democracy is supposed to work. And then what you have is people like Obama coming out and calling it out and saying that Republicans are breaking the rules when Republicans are following state law to do this.
Are you referring to Texas?
Yeah, 100%. So now you got Texas is going to gerrymander to get 5 seats. And then you have Newsom who says, well, we'll just pick those 5 seats up in California. Somebody actually floated, I think Newsom said that he's willing to take Republican representation in the House in California to 0%. They're going to have a state referendum to get rid of their independent redistricting commission. And let's not forget that 38% of that state voted to recall Gavin Newsom in 2021. He's going to take away all Republican. So it instead of like, oh, voters voted for something. Oh, Congress is giving them what they want. Instead, we're in this non-democratic war, a conflict. And look at some of the words places like Axios are using about this. They're saying the redistricting battle is going thermonuclear. And the Democrats are launching a counteroffensive. And Kathy Hochul says we're at war. Like, these are very, very, they're things that make the hair on my neck stand up. And so
is this adding to the trajectory of a fourth turning and maybe a civil breakup in the country that you and I have been talking about?
Haven't seen it in the numbers, but that's my concern. If we get a civil war, everybody assumed that it was going to be MAGA extremists popping off because Trump got assassinated. I never thought that was going to be the way. I thought it was going to be some blue state resistance over things that were politically untenable for them. And that could be things like the 2020 census be recalculated to not include illegal aliens. It could be things like ICE doing raids on sanctuary cities. It could be things like somebody trying to go get Governor Phil Murphy for harboring illegal aliens. Or it could be an escalated fight over the rules at a state level over redistricting. And so what happens if California can't redistrict and they know that a Texas redistricting is going to cost them the House? Are they going to stop, like, putting taxpayer money back into the federal government? Are they going to, there's a lot of things that these states could do to resist. And a lot of these states. So
you're saying, what I hear you saying is the Civil War may not come from the MAGA crowd. It may come from the Marxist, Democrats, Islamists, the blue states.
Yeah, almost obviously.
And by the way, I would say it's already started in many regards. I don't know if you've been following. We had Nicole Pearson on. She's a longtime friend of the broadcast, an attorney in California, and they're about to pass legislation there that would allow, with the fill out of one form, anyone can fill out the form and take a minor child to California, which is a sanctuary state, and give them LGBTQ treatment, abortion services, contraceptive services, whatever, and get the child's name changed within 6 weeks and change their birth date. And so your minor child, is trafficked there or taken there by their older boyfriend, or they say they're wanting to transition, but mom and dad are not for it, and some advocacy nut takes them to California, fills out this one form, not notarized, nothing. They've just legally kidnapped your kid in California. And it sounds so over the top that Nicole Pearson, and keeps saying, this is not hyperbole. This is not hyperbole. This is in the law. She's testifying before the committee. We've played it. She's been our guest several times now. She's been a guest for several years, but she was just on twice this week already. How is that not already a civil war when you're passing legislation to kidnap kids out of red states, bring them to a blue state, change their birth date and name, and use the power of the California government to hide a minor? I mean, that to me, they've already, in some essence, seceded from the union. They have already, in some essence, started a civil war with these actions.
Yeah. You can't have a civil war without resistance, Brandon, and somebody has to resist. So who's going to do it? Who's going to resist that?
Well, we're resisting.
Maybe there'll be a lawsuit. Maybe it'll go to the Supreme Court. I don't know, but
are you implying that you think that the blue states could do a lot of this, and the red states are just going to take it?
I'm surprised that Texas has been so strong about talking about how their Democrats are defying a quorum. They're talking about class 2 felonies and kicking them out of their seats. I'm really surprised about that. Because remember, at the end of the day, after those lawsuits got dismissed with no standing in December of 2020, none of the states did anything. And in fact, every Republican state essentially killed or covered up or refused to investigate election integrity issues, right? And so, yeah, that's the problem. You know who's the biggest resistor of paper ballots? The Republican Party. Literally in Arkansas, a district, I think it's a county level, implemented paper ballots, the first place in the nation. And then a Republican Secretary of State appointed by a Republican governor stripped the 3 Republicans who did it of their ability to hold office for a 14-year ban. That happened.
In Arkansas, of all places.
In a very Republican state that I can tell you the polling says that everybody wants paper ballots. So it's like a 60-couple% position.
So does this tell you that the Republican Party is largely controlled by a uniparty? And again, forgive me if this is outside of your interest or tolerance, but I'm still not convinced that the CIA doesn't largely control the Republican Party. I'm convinced they control most of the media, going back to the church committees of the 70s. I think they, in my opinion, are heavily involved in the machines. I think that's why you have Congressman Bill Posey of Florida writing a letter on his congressional letterhead that we have showed in December of 2020, to the CIA director and inspector general of the CIA. There needs to be an investigation to see if there's any relationship between the voting machine companies and the CIA. We have Jesse Helms screaming about that in the mid-1980s. So I'm telling you, I'm not convinced that most of what's going on in Congress goes back to the CIA. And now you have word that John Brennan is still controlling a black op division within the CIA. I think there is a shadow government, and it goes back to the CIA, and they were able, in my opinion, to kill President Kennedy in '63, and they've been running the country. And I think many of these Republicans, they are in some way, somehow controlled by the CIA, which is why they're not for paper ballots, because the CIA doesn't want paper ballots. I know I may be too conspiratorial, but I'm connecting dots here.
I mean, I don't have evidence to refute what you're saying. I would say my opinion on it is that it takes less overt control than we would expect in a highly complex system with very aligned interests. And so I think this machine runs itself with just a few gentle nudges. And yet I would also say that probably not just the CIA, but probably also military intel and foreign influence, 100%. But it does seem crazy how the same names of influence keep coming up, right? The same big business things like pharma and Cargill, the same foreign actors, the same names like the Bush dynasty just keep popping up, and all of the people that were funding all that stuff, right?
Which are all tied back to the CIA with Papa Bush.
Yeah. The Bush name is still there, including people right now who are prominent in the Trump administration. So, yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you.
Well, it explains more than anything that I've seen in a long time, particularly when you read the books and the history and you find out the former CIA director is fired by President Kennedy. And then voila, after he's murdered, that former CIA director ends up on the Warren Commission. Hello? I mean, you just keep going down this rabbit hole and you got the fingerprints of the CIA everywhere you turn.
Yeah, accountability is going to be a big cleanup job. We haven't even started. Americans want arrests. 69% agreed that people who manipulated intelligence need to be held criminally accountable. 48% strongly. That's really big numbers. But yeah, according to 2% of America, 42%, think it's at least somewhat likely the CIA was involved in killing Kennedy. And nobody's come out. It's like they always frame it the way they want to for a limited hangout. You and I both know that. But they say we're going to release the Kennedy files. Well, what the hell does that mean? How about instead you tell us the exact names of the people that were involved and how they enabled a successful assassination on a sitting president, and what positive actions were taken organizationally to prevent that from ever happening again? What about the raid on Mar-a-Lago with the authorized use of deadly force? What about what happened in the Secret Service and federal law enforcement and law enforcement at the state and local level to allow somebody to take a shot at President Trump?
Which we still haven't gotten to the bottom of that investigation, July 13th.
Yeah. And I don't want to hear information. I want to hear answers. That's what transparency and accountability is. It's positive steps to repair a broken system. And Trump can have all the economic wins he wants. I think some of them will improve his numbers. But if he wants to get to great territory, I think he needs to fix the government. Because again, I think he's doing the right stuff with Tulsi Gabbard and Crossfire Hurricane and the Russian collusion hoax. Fine. Air the dirty laundry. But he has to acknowledge that when it comes time for indictments, there's 45% of America he's not going to be able to move without a Herculean effort. Basically an act of God. And that what he's doing at the same time is additionally continuing to undermine trust in the government. So when he says, look at how bad, it's way worse than you thought, people are going to trust the government less. And it's his government.
Yep.
And so,
well look at this headline. The Vigilant Fox, we love their website and Twitter handle. Leaked FBI documents suggest Jeffrey Epstein was a secret FBI informant. Plot thickens. August 5th, 2025. Yep. There's a lot here. And if they want to hang on,
it hits close to home. We can't just blame it on Mossad anymore. It was our own government enabling young females to be sex trafficked to powerful predators, and wealthy predators who are going to skate. And we all know why it happened. And so just getting those files out isn't enough. Who ran this op? Whose idea was it? Who funded it?
Who funded it? Who ran it? Who funded it? Absolutely. I'm going to go over to Twitter. And what is your Twitter handle again? At Honest Polling?
Honest Pollster. Yep.
At Honest Pollster. There it is.
Particularly honest today.
Yes, you are. And articulate. There it is. At honestpollster.com. No, that's the handle. At Honest Pollster. Otherwise, Rasmussen reports.com. But his handle is at Honest Pollster if you want to follow him on X. And why would you not want to? And come hear him speak in person on a very exclusive presentation on what is the worldview of Americans. It's going to be amazing here in the Mid-South, Collierville, Tennessee, Friday night, October 3rd, Saturday, October 4th. Full details at worldviewstore.com and register. Mark, looking forward to having you with us.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'll have to come up with something good. Right now, the worldview of America is they want heads to roll. So maybe that'll be our theme.
Yeah, pitchforks, and torches is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Great job as always. We could talk for hours. Great job.
Thank you.
Check out his weekly podcast as well, folks. He has a podcast. Go follow him on Honest Pollster, and you can find out all about it. All right. Look at that. We didn't interrupt that great interview with even one commercial. We should have. But we're not just interested in making money here, folks, but we do got to pay the bills. But we do need your support. Will you go to worldviewtube.com/sponsors right now? worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Check out all the amazing sponsors we have there. We have everything. Well, I shouldn't say everything, but we have a lot of great stuff there. We have satellite phones. I have a satellite phone, and it's free when you sign up for one of their very reasonable monthly plans. Free. Satellite phone. Very, very reasonable. And I'm telling you what, I've had to use it on a couple occasions. I get into areas where the cell coverage is horrible. I was last summer at an area for the whole weekend, and there was not going to be any communication. So I had to use this. I mean, I could get like 3 or 4 seconds in the back, and then it wasn't sustainable. Thankfully, I had my satellite phone. Just go outside, turn it on, let it acquire satellite, and dial. That's it. And I love this. Okay. You can also go to Worldview Store, and I think we have a lower third for it, guys. Worldview Talk, I should say. You can go to Worldview Talk, get one of their bivvies, which allows you to hook that to your cell phone. Hook the bivvie to your cell phone. There it is right there. And even if the cell towers are down, you can compose the text on your cell phone, but you sync that bivvy to your cell phone, and you actually send the text through the bivvy to a satellite down to your family member who has a bivvy on the other end. Okay? We have bulletproof backpacks, solar-powered generators. I have one of those. I have the bivvy. I have the bulletproof backpack. I have the generator. I have the satellite phone. I have pretty much all of this. I even have one of these, a Starlink. I have a portable Starlink. Did you guys know that? I do. And you can get one for free when you sign up for one of their very reasonable monthly plans, free. And you can travel with it because it's portable. So if you have a cabin or an RV, you can still travel with this and have internet. Worldviewstalk.com, worldviewtalk.com, or use that toll-free number, 1-866-738-3224, 1-866-738-3224. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies cat's claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisaw collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change. Bella Grace Elixir doesn't stop at collagen. It includes astaxanthin, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, astaxanthin protects your skin from harmful UV rays and environmental stress, while locking in hydration and promoting a radiant, youthful glow. Experience the power of nature with Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Discover the science behind Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Read powerful testimonials from doctors and real customers who've experienced life-changing results, and explore other wellness products from Bella Grace. Bella Grace Elixir is more than just a product. It's a solution. Visit melissahousebg.com today.
All right, joining me now at the wee hours of the morning, literally, wee hours of the morning in Israel, is our Israeli reporter on the ground in Israel, brought to you by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. Hey, don't you appreciate the fact that we have a reporter on the ground in Israel? Well, a workman is worthy of his hire. We send regular love offerings to our buddy Aaron, and he knows it's coming from people like you from all over America and the world that want to keep getting this information from him. So help us continue to bless him, support him, so that he can keep blessing us with information. Worldviewfoundation.com is how you can do it. Worldviewfoundation.com. Aaron, just so the audience knows, I don't think they doubt me, but we do. We see your regular love offerings for all you're doing for us, don't we, Aaron?
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, Brennan, and to all those that support Worldview. It's such an important work. This is a war. Every time I come in the studio, I feel like I'm going to war because we're fighting lies, and these lies are causing massive damage, and who knows where it's going. I reported last night that there's reports out that any moment or any day, let's say, there's supposed to be some kind of massive attack onslaught on world Jewry. These protests going around the world that are disguising as the climate change and things like that. Deep down, they're pro-Palestinian, they're pro-Islam, they're anti-Semitic. We pray and hope that it doesn't happen, but the handwriting seems to be on the wall. So.
You're getting word that there may be an attack on Jews around the world, which about 2 or 3 days ago or so, I guess it came out that that the FBI in LA, according to Kash Patel, the FBI director, found some kind of explosive device to a guy that was sending money to ISIS and tied to ISIS. Again, I don't know what the deal is, but this is not the first time we've seen these explosives found. I don't know if they were intended for, just Americans or Israeli Jews in America or American Jews. I don't know. But thankfully they were found. But yes, when those things are found, then we start wondering how, could that have been someone that was plotting to go after a synagogue and part of this worldwide attack on the Jews that you're being told is coming?
Yeah, exactly. And the declaration by Macron, by the British Prime Minister, by all these nations, including New Zealand, Australia, others, this is empowering the terrorists. The terrorists are saying, you see, it works. October the 7th worked. And this is just empowering them. And God have mercy.
Yeah, indeed. All right, look at this. Talk about brainwashing. This is how you brainwash tens of millions worldwide. Fake Gazan journalists taking fake photos, international media rushing to post them. Tens of millions of people believe the starvation. Israel is hated for no reason. So this is the cover of Time magazine, and this was a totally staged picture, right, Aaron?
Yeah, it was. And it's really interesting. I'm seeing reports saying that people like Time and others, they've been duped. They've been absolutely deceived. But I'm also hearing other reports saying, these people, they know it's not the truth, and they're still going ahead and doing it. Why? Because of anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, and pro-Islam sentiments. The world is just going crazy. Anti-Semitism is worse now than before the Holocaust in the 1930s and the 1940s. It's almost hard to believe.
Yeah, it really is. And this is the Jerusalem Post right now. 5 IDF divisions, 5 months, Netanyahu's Gaza occupation plan to defeat Hamas. IDF strikes Lebanon. Cabinet expected to approve Gaza occupation. We also have video footage out tonight. Let's see. Let me see if I can find some of that video footage real quick. Looks like, here it is, the Israeli Air Force striking in Lebanon.
Yeah. Now, I was
just blew my eardrum out, but go ahead.
I was in the Jezreel Valley today doing some more videoing, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And there's an Air Force base there, and the jets were flying almost simultaneously. But Lebanon, Hezbollah are coming under serious attack, and the Lebanese government are actually making a stand against Hezbollah. So this could be the beginning of the end of Hezbollah. Let's hope so. But our forces are all day acting inside of Lebanon and in the Gaza Strip as well.
Wow. Okay.
And by the way, Brandon, can I just say on the Gaza Strip, seeing those images of our captive digging their own grave, do you know that has now been the catalyst, or let's say the last domino or the straw that I think has broken our cabinet, our Knesset's back, because they're saying, look, if our captives are digging their own graves, if they're just ready to die, what are we waiting for? And I'm hearing stories also that even some of the parents are giving the green light. They're saying, we can't go through this. They're making a mockery of us. This is demonic. This is demoralizing our nation.
So in other words, the parents are saying, if you got to go in and strike and it means killing our relatives, do it, because we can't keep this up.
Yeah, I'm not quoting them, but I'm hearing reports that is the sentiment, and it's they've had enough. Even the parents. Can you imagine? But what would you do if you saw your son digging his own grave with the skin in? But what would you do? What would you say? Would you want? What hope is there? They're dehumanizing our people, and what hope is there? It's
well, I can tell you what I would do. I'd have to pray on it a little bit, but I can promise you I would take whatever resources I had. I would hire retired special forces. I would find out who is tied to them, every one of their family members, and I would go an eye for an eye, and I would take out every one of their children, their wife, anyone tied to them. I would have my special retired forces eliminate every one of their family members until I could find the very last one. I'm Old Testament when it comes to this kind of thing, okay? I'm Old Testament. I'm Abram. You come after me and mine, and I am sending my militia, and we are taking care of business and bringing booty back, okay? I mean, that sounds like a rap song, but it's not, okay? I'm not quoting what's-his-face from Memphis here, but, I mean, for those who don't know, the younger people, just to clarify what that means treasures, okay? That's what I'd be bringing back. I would take what they had, if they had anything, for my trouble and to make restitution. But I'm telling you, all I can say is, God forbid the person that transgresses or takes on my family, because the cops and everybody else can go pound sand. Because I know most people won't like me hearing this. I like my cop friends. I'm good friends with them. But a lot of them at the end of the day, they're pushing paper, okay? They're pushing paper and counting down the days till they retire. And I don't blame them because of the way they're disrespected and underpaid, okay? There's no sense of urgency for a lot of them, okay? So I wouldn't go through the cops and all that stuff. I would go right to my retired special forces friends. I'd use whatever resources I had, and I would track them down in Jesus' name and send them straight to hell. And I don't care what anyone says. You can email me all you want. I'm old school. I am Old Testament Abram, and I have the right to do that by God, according to Genesis. When he came off the ark, Noah and his family were given the right to take somebody's life for shed blood. We turn around and we delegate it to civil government because we choose to. But some of us, maybe in some situations where the government's become just as corrupt in sex trafficking and doesn't want to man up, and we're doing DEI hires and hiring morons that are about as corrupt and criminal as the criminals, then some of us, you know what, we go Old Testament. So if you ask me what I would do my best to take what resources I had, track down these people's mother, their father, their children, their grandchildren, and I would make sure they went straight to hell. Now, is that revenge? No. That is what you call justice. An eye for an eye, the Abram standard. You come after me and mine, I'm coming after yours, and whatever I can get my hands on, I'm taking it as restitution. Won't bring them back, but this is and if we had more of that in America, this garbage going on in our cities would stop. We have demasculated the American male, and we have allowed the criminals to be codified, coddled, and pampered.
Yeah. And Brandon, just so that any listeners don't get confused, the Old Testament God is the same as the New Testament
That's
God.
right.
When Jesus comes back, he's gonna rule with a rod of iron. He's gonna judge people with the breath of his mouth, with his eyes. He is going to come back and rule with a rod of iron. So don't be apologetic and say, I'm going to the Old Testament. My Bible teaches that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when the Israelites came out of Egypt, when they sang the song, they were celebrating that the horse and the rider was thrown into the sea, and they said, the Lord, Adonai Ish Milchama, which means the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. So don't be apologetic and say, I'm going Old Testament. This is the Bible. This is the scriptures. And,
so you understand what I'm saying, but most Americans, sadly, have become so feminized they cannot even understand what I just described as 100% biblical.
Yeah, well, what it is, Brandon, it's a weak Christianity. It's a passive Christianity which only knows little Jesus, meek and mild. That's one side of it. But there's another side of it too, and they need to listen to your Bible study on the book of Revelation. When you look at when the Lord comes back, he ain't going to be, it talks about the wrath of the Lamb. Yep. Now, that's unnatural. That's unnatural for a lamb to be filled with wrath, because a lamb is a very meek, passive animal. But in that case, it's the wrath of the Lamb. He's going to come back filled with wrath. So I do understand it, and I hope people get it. But the problem is that people haven't woken up. That's the problem. They need to be shaken. They need to see what's going on, and they need to see that it's coming to your movie theaters right near you. So wake up, everyone, and take a stand. And be prepared. Be prepared to fight, not just spiritually, not just in prayer. That's first. I believe that that's first. But, it's like the Lord said, take with you 2 swords. Take with you. He said to them, take with you 2 swords.
Yep. And, in many regards, that's what your country's done, because your country is so small. You guys all know each other, right? You guys are all connected and intertied to each other. There's families, no families. So when they killed your family members on October 7th, guess what? You fortunately have a government that has a lot of guts that would stand up and go take care of business. Except for, of course, Biden kept trying to pull him back. And sadly, President Trump has tried pulling you back a few times. But really, that's what happened. You guys didn't grab a bunch of retired special forces. You grabbed your own children, which includes 2 of yours. Your 2 boys went to war, and many of the folks there went to war to bring restitution to their loved ones that were slaughtered. So reality, what I just explained, you guys actually did the same thing.
Yeah, but Brandon, let me tell you that the reason why October the 7th happened, one of the main reasons, is because of exactly what we're talking about. We were weak.
Yep.
We took a passive approach. We came from the 30-year-old Oslo peace accords, which was appeasing our enemies. The passage that keeps coming back is at the end of the 40 years of us wandering in the wilderness, a new generation rose up. The old generation, it says in the book of Hebrews, they weren't able to enter in because they had unbelief. They were too weak. They were afraid. Look at what happened when the Israelites and King Saul were facing Goliath. It says they were tormented. They were too weak. Only the spirit of David that rose up, that's what's needed. The spirit of Joshua, the spirit of Caleb, the spirit of David, and another place that I filmed today is Mount Carmel, and I did a film on Elijah the prophet. The amazing thing about Elijah the prophet, Brennan, he could face 450 men, right? But then the next minute, he's running away from one little woman, the spirit of Jezebel. And there are tormenting spirits, there are intimidating spirits, and we know that Islam is a very intimidating religion. That's one of their strategies. They're bullies. And
it's a demonic religion that is involved in the systematic molestation and raping of little boys and girls. It is a demonic, disgusting, subhuman religious system. And very few people ever make it out of that demonic religion. Thankfully, some do, but most don't.
Yeah, and we need to recognize, we need to do a soul search and say, do I have that same weakness that Elijah had, where I'm really moved by fear? Or remember who Elijah anointed? A man called Jehu. And Jehu was the man who rose up with an anointing, and he's the man who said, throw her down.
And let the dogs eat her.
Exactly. But Elijah couldn't do it. And we need to recognize if we have a weakness with what we're talking about, we need to say, God, I need a different spirit. I need your spirit to rise up so I can take my place and fight when needed.
Indeed. Look at this from the United Nations, Israel speaking.
Abiathar was forced to dig his own grave. You just heard his brother, Eli. Hamas and Islamic Jihad used the starvation and torture of hostages as evil tools. It's part of a deliberate and well-planned sadistic propaganda campaign. Its goals: 1, psychological terror. 2nd, an attempt to create a link between our starved hostages and their blood libel against Israel. But it's a campaign of lies. Israel facilitated huge amounts of aid into Gaza since the beginning of the war, in an unprecedented way in the history of wars. And by the way, the quantities are growing every day, if you follow that. Yet it is still accused of starvation. But the truth must be told. Hamas sadistically starves our hostages while the terrorists enjoy meat, fish, and vegetables. And you all saw the thick, meaty arm of the well-fed terrorist next to Abiathar, the living skeleton forced to dig his own grave.
Yep, the meaty arm of the terrorist next to him. And we have shown the pictures of the Hamas eating in the tunnels. I mean, they are loaded up with food. So wait a minute, how do they have all this food if there's a starvation going on? I mean, see if I can find some of the videos. Here we go. Look at these subhuman individuals. Here we go. Look at this.
والموز موز والبلح بلح واللحم لحمه واليوم لفات رز ويا حبيبي وهم يغلب عليك.
Look at that. Look at that fat cow back there. Look at that heifer in the black shirt. Wow. What a pork. Porky pig right there.
المانجا مانجا يا ابو بهجه والموز موز يا ابو بهجه والبلح بلح يا ابو بهجت واليوم 5 لفات رز قدحت يا ابو بهجت وراحن عليك يا ابو خالد راحت عليك الخير كله كب علينا يا ابو خالد ان شاء الله يا اخوان ابو خالد حيقصر حيجيب لكم عامه مبرومه
يخلف على اللي جابه قصر والله مطمنه طعمه
ويخلف على اخ ابو بكر بعت لنا مانجا وبلح وموز الاخ ابو بكر وحلب من عند ام احمد.
What a savage, barbaric, disgusting, subhuman group of people.
Psalm 125:3 says, the scepter of the wicked shall not remain over the heads of the righteous, lest the righteous put their hand forth unto iniquity. People pray that that scepter of the wicked shall not remain over our heads. Pray that it's released. Pray like Haman, that they end up falling on the same sword and hanging on the same gallows that they're preparing for us.
Yep. Here's the fat arm of the terrorist handing him something. I don't know what they're handing him, but look how, starving he is, and the fat arm and hand of the terrorist is handing him something. That's what everybody's been talking about.
God, have mercy on our dear son, our dear brother. God, have mercy. God, give him strength.
Amen. All right, Aaron, you guys hang in there as anti-Semitism rises. President Trump even said some of the MAGA people are getting tired of Israel. Did you hear that? Did you hear him say that the other day?
Yes. Yeah. This is Hamas's strategy to get the world to turn against us, and they're winning. They're winning, as our minister to the United Nations, Gideon Saar, said. This is a strategy. This is propaganda. He's calling it out for what it is. So it's true. They're getting fed up of us.
Here's July 31st. Here it is, July 31st. MAGA starting to hate Israel. Trump warns prominent Jewish donor, according to a report, citing expert who speaks regularly with the administration, claims MAGA world becoming very anti-Israel.
Brandon, we know the scriptures say that all the nations will come against Jerusalem and Israel. Mm-hmm. That's what the scriptures say. It's going to take something for that to happen. Could this be something that's really propelling those scriptures into fulfillment?
100%. Very, very, very concerning. No doubt about it. One little clip here. Here is Benjamin Netanyahu. Watch and listen to this, my friends.
Those who seek to harm Israel will be harmed. Those who kill our citizens will pay a heavy price. And those who fire on our cities and civilians will be held responsible for their actions. It may take time, but Israel will ultimately reach these terrorists. No one should doubt Israel's resolve to defend its citizens. If that is not clear today, it will become even clearer in the future. Israel will do whatever it has to do to protect our state and to protect our people. Israel's policy is clear, and our message to the terrorists is also clear. You can run, you can hide, but in the end, Israel will get you.
Yep, let's pray they do, too. Aaron Lavarco, lighttotheNationsMinistry.com, also brought to you by our foundation. We have some great videos coming out, folks. People are flooding us with emails and texts, loving the tours by our tour guide, our Israeli reporter, Aaron Lavarco. God bless Israel. God bless Aaron. Aaron, thank you, my friend. I know it's the wee hours of the morning in Israel. Thanks for being with us tonight.
It's worth staying up, Brandon. Thanks. God bless.
We'll be right back after this break. We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com. Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at www.foundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview. Joining me now is Nick Holscher. Nick is here's his Twitter right here. He is the epidemiologist and administrator at the McCullough Foundation. You can follow him at Nick Holscher on X. Nick, welcome back to Brandon House Live. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, big news by RFK Jr. Tell our audience what this decision is. Is it his biggest decision yet?
I think this is the biggest decision or action he has taken regarding the mRNA injections since he took office earlier this year. And so we did see the elimination, or at least the impending elimination, of 22 mRNA injection contracts under BARDA. BARDA were actually instrumental in the creation of the mRNA injections through the ADEPT P3 program decades ago. And so this is such a nice change. And so it includes some bird flu injections of Pfizer and Moderna, some restructuring of contracts. And the most positive thing is he indicated that there will be no future mRNA-based developments. And so that's a good sign. Now, there's one thing that very much concerns me regarding this is what was left out was actually the self-amplifying Arcturus Therapeutics bird flu mRNA injection. That was fast-tracked by the FDA a few months ago. That was untouched by this recent elimination of contracts. So we still have to stay vigilant, and that's got to be the next target. We can't let that one slip through.
All right, well, let's go to the self-amplifying mRNA replicant shots because they cause severe blood abnormalities in 93% of trial participants. Let's go through some of these. I'll let you read them off, talk about them one by one.
Yeah, so 85.4% of the participants, this was in Uganda, so they were basically experimenting on a bunch of Africans that, they probably didn't know exactly what they were getting themselves into. And then, they all basically vomited. They had immense pain. They were just suffering as a result of these self-amplifying injections. But the most concerning thing is that 39 of the participants had severe blood abnormalities, which thrombocytopenia, so low platelets, that does increase the risk of internal bleeding, and immune suppression. Their immune cells were being diminished by these injections, and that was in 93% of them. And if you go down to the figure there, you will see this is probably what the clinic looked like. They received the shots and they were just decimated by this replicon platform. And so this study should serve as a warning flag to not proceed with self-amplifying injections. They're simply too dangerous for human use. And there's so many other risks that, we don't even have time to talk about with these, including recombining with wild viruses and making chimeric mutant viruses.
So let me ask you this. Is this, are these at all being used here in the U.S.? Is there any of these self-amplifying mRNA going on here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so there's none currently approved in the U.S. They are fast-tracked, and that's still on the pipeline by Arcturus Therapeutics for bird flu. So it could possibly still be on the way here, but it is approved in Japan, European Union, and India. They have self-amplifying injections, but nobody's taking them, thankfully. In Japan, they only gave out 10,000 doses. So, most people understand that they're dangerous, but they're still trying to roll them out anyways.
Wow. Okay. What else is on your radar? Anything else that we should talk about?
Yes. Well, getting off topic of mRNA shots is walking, right? A new study came out that shows 7,000 steps a day decreases your risk of all-cause death, cancer death, diabetes, cardiovascular disease.
Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it. Thank you, because all you're doing is joining the chorus now with my wife, who keeps saying the same thing, because I sit here at this desk 4 hours a day, not to mention the other hours I sit at another desk studying, getting ready for these 4 hours. And she says, I'm too sedentary. I'm not moving enough. I'm going to die. I'm going to end up with Alzheimer's and dementia. Because she's reading all the same studies you are. So thank you, because she's watching tonight. And now I'm going to hear it. Even your friend Nick says you should be out there walking 7,000 steps. Because she's like, would you like to go for a walk? I'm like, it's Memphis, Tennessee. It's 100 and something% humidity, if that's even possible. No, I don't want to go. It's 105 degrees out. But so anyway, thank you for making my life rough. But go ahead, tell our audience, 7,000 steps a day, huh? I guess I should do it on a treadmill in the air conditioning, maybe, huh?
Yes, a treadmill works, right? Well, I'm sorry to put you under the fire here, but it's such a shocking number of improvements just by walking. I'm guilty too. I'm not walking 7,000 steps a day. I should be now after reading this study, and it does decrease your risk of Alzheimer's, dementia. Basically, it improves the health of everything. Now, before they were recommending 10,000 steps a day. This study indicates 7,000 is adequate, which is it takes about an hour to walk that many steps. It's about 3 miles. So it is a lot. But if you can't get 10,000, shoot for 7,000. Better yet, go for 3,000, at least get some walking in. But yes, I understand, I'm stuck to this desk chair for a large portion of the day as well. But we got to find time to walk.
Yeah, we got to find time to walk. But, my wife, she does it. She gets her steps in. She's doing great. And she's convinced I'm going to pass before her. But then she always says, but then you have these genes in your family, on your side of the family, Brandon, where your kin live into their 90s. Well, this is true. So I know some of it's just straight genetics. And you know that as an epidemiologist, right?
Yes, a lot of it has to do with genetics, right? You'll see some people, they smoke, they do everything, they eat garbage, and they live till they're 100.
You mean my great aunt? She lived to be 101. This is my grandfather's sister, and we went to visit her. She lived here in Tennessee. We went to visit her one afternoon, and she was eating. She had a bologna sandwich, a bag of chips, and a Coke. And my wife, we left. She's like, she's eating completely wrong, but apparently it's all genetics for her. And yes. She was fine, had her mind all the way to the end to 101, and eating bologna and Coke, drinking Cokes and eating potato chips didn't faze her one bit. 101. Like, well, there you go.
Yeah, so we're born with our genetics, and we hope that it's good enough to carry us through the old age without our minds going. That's for sure. And yeah, some people, they do everything right, eat whole foods, exercise every day, never smoke, do nothing. And, they die of a cardiac arrest when they're 40, particularly those who received the mRNA shot.
Yeah, particularly those. Oh, boy. Well, we, of course, had on Dr. Thorpe the other night. We're going through more of his studies and the 5,000% spike in fetal deaths. I mean, it's just so sad, and constantly reporting here on healthy, athletic people dropping dead. It just doesn't quit. Do you think, as an epidemiologist, this is going to plane off at some point, or is it just continuing to go up?
It doesn't appear to be leveling off too much. It has eased a bit as most of the population isn't taking boosters anymore, but we do still now see the after effects, what's called delayed adverse events or delayed fatal adverse events. So we do still see people dropping dead, unfortunately, of cardiac arrests, cancers, particularly these turbo cancers, because we now know that based on a study we just uploaded to the preprint server, we do now know that the mRNA shots, do induce severe genetic disruption linked to cancer, mitochondrial failure, immune dysfunction. And so it's basically shaking things up molecularly at the base level of how things are working. And so, it's a very difficult situation. And, we hope to really find solutions to kind of stop this chaos in its tracks.
Well, we do. Well, we do have some good news. So I guess let's rejoice and marinate in the good news. RFK, what he did, the biggest decision and action thus far. as Secretary of Health and Human Services. So we do have some good news. Let's also give them some good news. And you can find great medical news over at Nick's Twitter feed, X account, at Nick Hulscher, Nichulscher. Nick, as always, we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, he's the epidemiologist and administrator at the McCullough Foundation. And of course, Dr. McCullough works with what? He works with the Wellness Company. So consider going now to worldviewhealthcare.com. Get your wellness kit. I have several of these. I travel with these because I do not want to go to, I went to Rockford, Illinois, as you guys know, where my wife's from. Went up to Milwaukee in April, and I traveled with this. I don't have a doctor up there. And I didn't want to have to go to urgent care out of town, much less in my own town. So I have these and I travel with them. These are serious medical kits, and there's a lot of them there at the Wellness Company. Check them all out there. Worldviewhealthcare.com. Use that URL. You'll find it all, and we get credit. You know, they also have a wellness plan, like the enhanced, $49.99 per month, free prescriptions. Free prescriptions. Oops, sorry, guys. Free prescriptions and pharmacy coaching. And then also, you can do the $99.99 a month, free supplements on top of the free coaching and the free prescription. You don't have to order too many supplements, and you've blown through that $99, and now you're saving money. Find it all at worldviewhealthcare.com. Worldviewhealthcare.com. Turn your home into your own urgent care. Let me show you what you got. You got all the meds right here, okay? And you got a little book, which is how last year when I had pneumonia, temperature of 103, which I love to talk about. Melissa went down the hall. She got this out, and she opened the little book, and there's a couple different kind of antibiotics in here, and she knew which one I should take to knock out the pneumonia. There you go. Worldviewhealthcare.com. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Particularly when you get sick, it's not a joke, and you don't feel well enough to go to the urgent care, much less do you want to go there and sit for hours. So worldviewhealthcare.com. Turn your home into your own urgent care. We'll be right back after this break.
Introducing the Sentry Wellness System, the ultimate under-sink water treatment solution designed with you in mind. Say goodbye to harmful toxins and hello to water enriched with essential nutrients like calcium and magnesium. Enjoy the benefits of increased pH for on-demand alkalinity, all from a zero-waste system that fits seamlessly into your home. Installation is a breeze, taking just 15 minutes, so you can have clean, healthy, great-tasting water straight from your tap. Perfect for apartments, homes, rentals, and even RVs. Elevate your hydration and well-being with the Sentry Wellness System because you deserve the best in every drop.
Sentry H2O. Tap into wellness.
Joining me now is Dr. Bashima Williams. We like to have our weekly health chat with the good doctor. She's an MD and a functional medicine doctor. And look at what arrived in the mail. Looks what has arrived in the mail. Here we go. What are these? I'm going to open it up right here, right now. Can I? Should I? Can I? Can I open it up? I'm going to do it anyway. What is this?
Sent you?
Yeah, they just arrived today, Doc.
Yeah.
What are they?
Yep.
All right, here we go. What is this?
Yeah. So did you watch that video I showed? I have on my Instagram.
Not yet.
If not,
did you send it to me?
If not, yeah, I sent it to you with, yeah. And so basically, if you want to put it on right now, I can walk you through it, but you'd have to take your jacket off. You know, you have to have all this exposed. So it looks like
that
this
would ruin my
all done.
reputation right there. Although
Well,
I must say, I know this sounds horribly braggadocious, Logan, but for 56, I'm going to go for it. I was out in the yard working the other day, and I had on one of those wife beaters, you know, working in the yard. And one of my friends that does some handyman work for me, he's from Guatemala. I came around the corner of my house. I had been blowing stuff off. And I came around the corner, I looked up, and there he was, and it startled me, and I stopped, and he laughed, and he said, "Oh, look at you. You got big muscles. I didn't know. You always wear a suit. I didn't think you have big muscles like that, Mr. Brannon." He can't say Mr. Brandy. He calls me Brandy. Brandy. He can't say Brandon. I'm like, Brannon. Brannon. Brandy. Brandy. He can't say Brandon. He calls me Brandy. So he was like, "I see your suit. I had no idea you actually has muscles." So you know that. I'm not sure if that's a Chinese or is that Mexican, Guatemalan, Logan. I don't know. I'm working on my accent. But anyway, he was shocked. So Anyway, I'm not ashamed to take off my jacket. It's a lot of work. They get me all wired up. So just tell me how it works and I'll do it.
Okay. So
Later.
basically you just open it up.
Okay.
And then there's a cap. You remove the cap. Don't look inside that other thing, 'cause you'll see the needle and that'll freak you out. And then pretend this is that meter, that thing that you have in your hand. And all you do is just put it, I like to say make a goalpost. And if you watch that video I sent you, you'll see it. And then you just put it against your skin right here.
Yeah.
And then you just push it in. And then it's like that's it. So
do you push it in and
Logan,
hold
I
it,
don't
or
know
just
if you
push
have-
it in and let go?
Just push it in and then you let go.
Okay.
Logan, I don't know if you have that video from
Logan?
that I sent your dad. Yeah, let me see.
Is it in an email, Doc?
Yeah, no, it's in a portal message. I just portal message you that, just so that way when you get it, you would know how to use it.
What's a portal message, Logan?
I'm sorry, not portal message. It's in your text messaging.
In your text message, because he's like, I don't know what a portal message is either. That sounds like doctor talk, portal message.
Portal message is technically how I generally, it's Logan, it's a text message to you and your dad. And I can share it with you right now.
He's got it. Okay.
Perfect. Play that and that'll just show you how to do it in real time.
Now,
so that
anyone
when you do
watching, if they want, so what are you going to do? That will grab my blood? It's going to grab my blood, right?
It'll check, it will grab your extracellular fluid, which is a indirect marker of what your intracellular blood sugar is measuring. So yeah. So
and how much am I going to bleed?
Not much at all. You don't bleed at all.
But it does grab blood.
Yeah, it grabs extracellular fluid.
Okay.
So it's not inside a blood vessel. It's So
okay,
it's
and then I'm going to put the cap back on it. Right?
I mean, once it's in your once you pull that thing off, this is what you're going to have left over.
Okay.
So,
and you leave that on there.
Yeah, you leave it on. there
I thought it was going to grab my blood sample.
No, you leave it on for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So this is for testing my glucose?
24/7.
And then I got an app I have to hook to it?
Yeah, the Libra app.
Okay, I thought this was grabbing blood. This is checking my blood sugar. And then for 2 weeks, I leave it on there. And how do I take it off? Just pull it off?
You just peel it right off. And if you watch that video, it'll show you how to peel that off too. Because I did all that for my patients. So here's my blood sugar right now.
I can't move it over this. There you go. Yeah, 91.
You see that nice straight line all day today? That's the goal. So that is me eating an anti-inflammatory diet. This is also almost sort of my grade report card, because if I ate a bowl of cereal, I'd have a spike here, and you don't want a spike, because the spikes are what causes a lot of the inflammation in your body that we're trying to put out. High sugar is one of the biggest causes of inflammation in your body. And that is why, I recommend the continuous glucose monitor, because it's very, very important that you know what your blood sugars are and that they're controlled, because if not, you are inducing a lot of really bad inflammation in your body.
Wow. Now, before I play the video, you sent me 2 of these. So
yeah. So you have a whole month. Yeah. Or Melissa can try.
Well, I was going to say, can I do one for 2 weeks and she does one for 2 weeks as well?
Yeah, you guys can do it together. Absolutely.
Now, what if the average person watching wants to do this? Where do they get these?
They can get it from their doctor. Their doctor can write them a prescription.
Oh, you have to have a prescription. We can't sell them?
There are some that are, no, we can't sell them, but there are some that are available like on Amazon, but they're not as good as this one in my opinion, but they are decent. What I found out about myself, a couple things I found out is, for example, if I eat late at night, like if I eat the same thing, an apple and some nut butter, almond butter in the morning versus at 8 o'clock at night, it is so different from how the food at nighttime affects my blood sugars. It does 2 major things that people need to know about. Number 1 is your blood sugars will go up and stay higher longer, because you're more insulin resistant at nighttime naturally. You are naturally insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is when you can't get insulin to attach to a cell to get glucose into a cell. So you're naturally more insulin resistant at nighttime to protect your body from bottoming out your blood sugars all night long while you're sleeping and not eating. So you're naturally more insulin resistant, which means food will affect you differently at nighttime versus in the morning, okay? The same exact food. The second thing I noticed is if I eat after dinner, Then at nighttime, because of the way all of this works, the science behind, there's amazing science behind it. But when I eat after dinner, like at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, even if it's something healthy, and, you know, especially like if it's something high in sugar, like pineapple, for example, then what happens is throughout the night, I will become hypoglycemic or have low blood sugar. Now that is really bad because every time you have low blood sugar, it's an SOS alarm for your body. Your body's like sensing, ooh, oh my gosh, your blood sugar is going down too low. So I've got to make cortisol,
Why?
your stress hormone, because cortisol is how your body then keeps your blood sugars from going down into, you know, really low where you would die, right? If your blood sugars keep going down at 3 o'clock in the morning, you would not be around in the morning when you were supposed to wake up. And so your body's SOS system alerts itself. And so you break down stored glucose anywhere, or you break down muscle to use as glucose to make your blood sugars go up. Well, that's very disruptive to your sleep rhythm. Okay. So that's just a couple little things. And, you know, in the future, we actually have a nutrition course that we're going to be selling on this platform that I created, and 3 lectures I created go through how to use a continuous glucose monitor and to make it make sense so that it can change how you do things. For example, the food order that you eat, you know, eating your vegetables first with your protein and healthy fats, and leaving your starchy vegetables or carbs that are more high in sugar, like brown rice, even though it's healthy, leaving that for the end, you know, doing things like that, exercising after you eat, you know, all these things are really important to fully understand so you can have the best chance of lowering your blood sugar naturally. And, you know, we're going to talk about antioxidants today. You really had a great idea of creating this antioxidant pack. And one of the things that lowering blood sugar naturally does is it acts like an antioxidant because you're not promoting inflammation, you're promoting calmness within the system.
And we're going to show you guys, we're going to premiere this for the first time today, but we got that video. Watch this, guys.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Bashima Williams. I am a family medicine and functional medicine doctor with almost 30 years of experience. Today, I am going to show you how to use this Freestyle Libre. Here you just remove the old Libre monitor that you have easily. There it is. And here is the little glucometer. It's a big, huge, great thing. Now we need to clean the area that we're going to be using. I generally just use the area right underneath my arm, kind of like holding a goalpost. Open this up, super easy. Just open it, pull it out. Don't look inside there because it'll freak you out. Just turn it around and then just count 1, 2, 3. Push in, that's it, you're in, you're done. So perfect placement. And now what I do with all of mine is I actually take one of these air bandages. I've never had one of mine misfunction, so I want to keep it that way because they're kind of expensive. And then you follow the instructions to activate your Libre monitor. And that is through the Libre app. Super easy, you just connect your phone to the monitor and you're good to go. I hope this was helpful in how to place a continuous glucose monitor.
Now, when you came to take it off, you just peeled it off just like
Just peel it off, just like a Band-Aid.
Doesn't resist, not hard to get off. You're not going to be tugging on it. It's going to come right off.
Right off. That's why I showed that part, because so many of my patients are like, is it going to hurt or bleed when it comes? Nope, it doesn't. None of that. So.
Did it even hurt when you put it on? You didn't seem like it bothered you.
It didn't hurt. No, it doesn't hurt at all. But, you know, if you looked at the needle, it does look like, oh my gosh, but it's actually a really flexible needle, but you can't feel the needle because, you know, you don't want to stick your finger in there and contaminate the needle to decrease the stress and anxiety of it. So I just tell people, don't look at that needle, just stick it on and go.
What makes it hold? Has it got some sticky stuff on there?
Yes, it's got some sticky stuff that naturally goes on when you press that thing on. So it's really easy, and that's why I made a video on it, just to show how simple it is.
Well, you just peeled that other one right off, came right off.
Goes right off, yep. And I don't have one on right this second because I just peeled it off a minute ago, but I do put that bandage over it.
Oh, that's a Band-Aid. That's not one. That's a Band-Aid?
That round thing that I put on at the end is sort of a cover for the glucometers. They sell glucometer covers so that, you know, when you're scratching yourself, you don't accidentally peel it off. 'Cause that's how easy it is.
What you have on right now is a Band-Aid.
No, I don't have anything on right now on it.
What is that? That is
That's
it.
just-
That is the.
That's it.
That is it.
This is the actual monitor.
Okay. Now, what about showering? I don't have to worry about it coming off in the shower?
No, but that is why I put that bandage on, because, you know, I worry about when you're scrubbing yourself, you're going to scrub right over it and it's going to peel right off. So I put that that one layer of protection on it with the glucometer cover that I showed in that video, just to help prevent that from, you know, the accidental clothes catching on it, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited to try this. Now, what do you think you're going to find? Because I tell you that, you know, a lot of times I get to feeling kind of, you know, shaky, like, you know, you get, most people know what that feels like, low blood sugar.
Yeah.
And I'll say to my wife, I need a few pieces of cheese, you know, or something to help bring my sugar back up or something, right? I'll go get some grape juice, all natural grape juice or whatever. What do you think you're going to find in my blood sugar? If you had to just guess.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, what I'm going to find is probably several spikes throughout the whole day. I'm probably not going to see this nice straight line, because you can't have grape juice or any kind of juice for that matter and have a straight line. Even most vegetable juices will make your blood sugar spike. When you spike blood sugar, insulin also spikes, okay? Hour and a half later, blood sugars go down, insulin's still high. So then you become reactive hypoglycemic, which means you have, you know, again, the SOS alarm in your body. That's why you're getting the adrenaline rush, you're getting the cortisol rush when your blood sugars bottom out. So what I'm going to see is a spike and then a plummet of blood sugar, and then another little spike, even if you don't eat, because your body will release endorphins to make your body naturally make glucose. That's probably what's happening at night to a lot of people that are waking up at 2 or 3 in the evening because their blood sugars may be bottoming out. Not eating after dinner, if you can have dinner around 5 or 6 and not eating afterwards. And equally as important for some people is the quality of the food that they're eating for dinner, is eliminating all simple carbohydrates from their diet for dinner is very helpful to prevent the blood sugars and blood insulin from going up too high. Remember, high blood sugar will be followed by high blood insulin. That's no good. You do not want high insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone, and it's, you know, what you're doing with that cycle is a pro-inflammatory cycle. You do not want that. The best way to decrease insulin spikes and the best way to decrease reactive hypoglycemia is to stop eating sugar in any form. And let me just clarify what I mean by that. I don't mean stop eating all carbohydrates, because a lot of people think carbohydrates are all sugars, and that's, you know, very simplistic. But what I do want you to know is eat the proteins, eat the fats, and eat the non-starchy vegetables. Okay, they are less, they have a less glycemic index than, say, a grape or a sweet potato. But if you do have and, you know, rice and stuff like that, that is all very that's too simple. So when you eat simple carbohydrates, it makes your blood sugar spike. And we're trying to prevent that, because we're trying to prevent the aging process in our bodies. And if we can decrease our blood sugars, then we can definitely do that. And also we're trying to decrease reactive hypoglycemia. So that's what I'm suspecting.
So when I drink 3 cups of coffee a day, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and then 1 in the afternoon. And then throughout the day, I like to have some grape juice. You know, the kind of grape juice you take communion with, unless, of course, you go to a Catholic church and they're really drinking you know, in the Baptist churches and all that, they got to have the grape juice. So I like grape juice.
Yeah.
Is this, I heard that from you. Is this going to be a problem, my grape juice?
Yeah. But you know what? Check it out yourself. Anything that causes blood sugar spikes and you see that pattern, you need to get rid of it in your diet if you're into longevity. If you're not into longevity, then you can keep drinking the grape juice.
So what you just said in a nice way was, if you're not interested in living very long, keep going.
Yeah. Longevity, specifically health span, meaning functional life, not just living.
Well, my wife was saying to me the other night, Brandon, you got to take care of yourself, because what would I do without you. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. But she's like, no,
100%.
she's like, seriously, you know,
100%.
our kids are grown. They all have their own life. Something happens to you. What am I gonna do? You know? I'm like, I don't
Listen,
know.
there is not another Brannon. That's the problem.
And isn't the world happy for that, right?
No, you're an amazing human, and that's the problem. Is how is she going to find another person like that? I mean,
Yeah.
she's really cute and really sweet, really nice. Your wife is super nice, and yeah, she's 100% right, and that's what I tell my husband all the time too. How am I going to find another Mike?
Yeah,
if
you're not.
something-
Well, I know I'm never going to
we-
find another Melissa, and I tell her that all the time. I'm like, I think you'd be fine. It's me that would be toast. But yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting experiment. And now, will it track for like the whole 2 weeks? Will we be able to see on this day and that day, and we'll be able to go back and watch. So as I change my behavior, as I change my eating habits, you're going to start saying, "Oh, look here, Brennan, how your spikes were all over the place." And then as you start behaving yourself for longevity, look how it starts flatlining. Right?
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
And we'll be able to bring this up on a computer to show the audience. Oh, like just
Well,
like
you can
just
just
did?
bring it up on your phone. Like, see mine, most of the time mine is nice and flat. I do have a little spike right here. Generally, I bet, without even looking, I bet that's around lunchtime. Oh, that's around 6, so that's about dinner time. It spikes up a little bit.
That's because you
But
just
for
ate.
the most part, yeah, but for the most part, it's pretty flat, which is good. That's what you want. So,
Does flat equal boring? Does flat equal I'm going to be bored? I don't get to enjoy my Welch's and a little piece of dark chocolate. What is that dark chocolate I eat, Logan? I have a little square of dark chocolate. What is that?
If it's
dark chocolate with almonds in it, it's supposed to be very expensive. I have a friend of mine who sent it to me. He loves to give gifts, and he gives very nice gifts. And he sends me this chocolate, and apparently is very expensive. I don't know. I've never priced it, but I'm told it's very expensive chocolate. It's little dark chocolate squares with almonds. He sent it to me at Christmas, and I have just one piece a day, kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
But am I going to see? I hate that movie, by the way. I hated Willy Wonka. I thought it was very depressing. I mean, can you imagine being so poor you can't afford a candy bar? So, anywho, am I going to have to stop doing that? Am I going to see a spike when I have my dark chocolate?
That'll be an interesting experiment, but 2 things. Number 1, have it after your meal. So
I do.
That way you,
That's how I like to have it, is after my meal.
yeah. Assuming you've had a lot of vegetables. As long as you've had a lot of vegetables, then it slows down how fast glucose is absorbed into your body. It's okay to have a little sugar spike, but it's not okay to have a big sugar spike. And so generally after meals, we don't want to spike above about 30 to 40 points of where your baseline is. So like when I eat and my blood sugar spikes, it spikes from a baseline of about 85 to, 120, for example. That's okay. And then it goes back down nicely and it stays down. That's the most important thing, is it stays down and it doesn't cause a secondary problem. The other thing too, Brandon, juice is not okay. Replace it with something like these herbal teas, which are so good.
Wait a minute. I love iced tea. Tell me about this.
I mean, there's no sugar in here. You can have all the iced tea you want, but make sure it's herbal iced tea. Like this one it's called the Wellness Blend from Tea Leaves. TEALEVES. Tea Leaves is all organic teas, and it's amazing. And I make like a big picture of it every day, because you want to make drinking fun. And if it's boring, then it won't be fun. Now, if you like sweet tea, you can put a little bit of stevia in here.
Okay.
Just a little tiny bit of stevia and some ice. My ice has melted. This is my second quart today. My first was water.
You're on your second quart?
Yeah, this is a quart. This is a quart size.
You're drinking 2 quarts of that a day?
My first quart was water. This is my second liquid quart. I usually have all my 3 quarts drunk by 6 p.m., but today...
She's drunk by 6 p.m., Logan. That's the breaking headline
I drink
tonight.
them by 6 p.m. because I don't want to get up and pee all night long.
You didn't even pick up on that joke, did you, Doc?
I did, but I ignored it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't want to get too personal, but yeah, there are times when I get up like 3 times a night. Then there are other nights where I only get up once,
Well, you want to stop drinking by 6 p.m.
Yeah.
That's one of the rules.
And my wife is like, again, don't want to get too personal, but my wife would be like, how on earth could one human being hold that much liquid? She's like, laying there waiting for me to come back to bed. Dolly's waiting for me. And she's like, I just didn't think that was going to stop. You know, that how much fluid can one person hold? I'm like, I don't know. Apparently, I have a very strong bladder. But I'm telling you, there are days I sit at this desk for 4 or 5 hours straight and don't get up. They won't let me up. They won't go to break. And I guess got to sit here. But yeah, she's like, do you think you could get up less? Because whenever you get up, it wakes up the dogs. It wakes up me. Do you think you could do this less? So sometimes I get up once, you know, sometimes I get up more. But if you're drinking 2 quarts of that a day, I would think that would be a problem. But you say you cut off the drinking by 6.
Yeah, I actually drink 3 quarts of liquid every day. Usually 2 water and 1 herbal tea.
Wow. Now the herbal tea, is that going to be really good for me?
Yeah, yeah. And it's got polyphenols in it. I can send you some of that too. I can send you a mixture of some. I have a pear one. I always have them in my pantry, and they're all organic. That's the goal. You want organics. You want it to be healthy for you. And all these green, naturally decaffeinated teas are all herbals, which have a ton of polyphenols in them. This bright yellow
What is that?
color,
What's a polyphenol?
Polyphenol is what comes from plants. And these are the flavonoids and stuff like that that are very antioxidant in their body. So it's good for you, and it doesn't do anything to my blood sugar. I mean, I have proof.
Okay, I'm going to get Melissa to look this up tonight when we get off the air so I can order this, because I just get bored drinking water. It's boring.
Yeah.
I want something with some taste.
Yep. Yeah. The other thing I do is throw some lemon and cucumbers in my water sometimes, because those are natural anti-diuretics. They're going to make you pee more during the day and less at night. The other thing, if you really want to know the truth, Brandon, in my opinion, I think you have enough excitement in your life to not have that afternoon coffee. So I think you should cut on just the first 2 cups, and that's it. Because the problem with caffeine in the afternoon is it can mess with your cortisol and insulin. And when you mess with your cortisol and insulin, those are the foundational hormones on the hormone hierarchy, you mess with everything else, and it will mess with your sleep, your ability to diurese properly during the day, blah, blah, blah. So, and now that you have the tea option, I actually made a video on this too, because I'm like, hey, let's try to make drinking more fun again. Because
she has a
everyone's
drinking
like,
game, Logan. The doc, we're finding out a lot about her today. Keep going. She has a drinking
I'm like,
game.
all my patients are like, I hate drinking water. I'm like, well, then make it fun and have fun with it. Like, take something that's not great and turn it into something fun and great.
Yeah, I bet you were a fun mom. I bet you were a fun mom, because you seem like you want to try to make everything fun.
You know what? I'm a natural teacher.
That's very obvious.
So I see 7 solutions to every problem. That's how my brain works.
Speaking of which, maybe you could help me get a hold of your sister. I've been trying to get a hold of her for a week.
Oh, she's on a cruise.
Well, no wonder I can't get a hold of her for the last week. I'm like, where is Tina? I got to ask Dr. Bashima, why can't I track down Tina?
You have another 7 days before she'll.
Well, maybe I should use the satellite phone. Is she,
You should. I think she tries to check out.
Yeah, I think
she's intentionally about trying to check out.
Okay, well, I don't blame her. She deserves it. All right. I thought this was to take my blood, but now I realize it's about my blood sugar.
You should be getting a kit literally in the next day or 2. I'm surprised you haven't gotten it already, from a company that we use when we don't use insurance. And so, but you do have to be a doctor to order it. So I can't name that company online here, because unfortunately we're going to get phone calls from your listeners. Let me just tell you, your listeners are so dang smart. And they ask some of the smartest questions, but guess what? We have answered every single one above and beyond what their expectations were.
Wow. Well, you're amazing. Thank you.
Like, even some people who want to know the research behind our supplements, or they want to know, is it really clean, or are we just claiming that? I mean, these are the same things I use on my patients. Of course, they're the best that I could possibly find. Otherwise, I would have used something else. So I love those questions, but I can't mention the lab, because you do have to you have to be a provider, because you have to be able to interpret the labs. But this is a place where we can get around not having to use insurance. And so we are using those labs and not using insurance. And so we will get those. And
so when it shows up, do I take my blood myself and send it back to you, or I have to go somewhere?
You have to go somewhere, and there are collection places like Anytime Lab and places like that will, once you get them, all you need to do next is just let us know.
Okay.
Because then my nurse will tell you guys exactly where to go.
We're going to have a lot of fun stuff to show you soon, folks. My blood sugar, my blood work, it's going to be very interesting come around, another week or 2.
There's also something called mobile phlebotomy people that
I'm
will
going to have a
actually,
lobotomy, Logan. You've been asking me to have one for years. Here we go.
little different, that will actually come to your office and draw your blood.
Okay.
So a lot of the, I'm a company doctor for some companies. We'll just have a person, a phlebotomy, somebody go to their office and just draw everyone's blood at one time, which is very convenient for everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Excellent. All right, we have a big announcement. Are you ready, folks? We have a brand new website. It's Worldview Vitamins with an S. Worldviewvitamins.com. Worldviewvitamins.com. And when you get there, Dr. Bashima and I, we had a conversation several weeks ago about making this pack, and it is now available. It is an antioxidant super pack. Now, you may look at the price and go, oh my. Well, here's why. Because we have an ingredient in here that is super, super important, but it's not cheap, but it's what Dr. Bashima herself takes. Doctor, tell us about this pack.
Yeah. So you might want to refresh your screen because we actually, when we were debating what to put in this pack, yes, there you go. We were debating between 3 or 4 supplements. And finally, I made the executive decision of putting broccoli powder back in there. Our broccoli powder capsule is literally filled. Each bottle that we sell has 10 pounds of broccoli in it. This extract called sulforaphane has very, very strong antioxidant effects. In fact, it activates something called NRF2. Do you know what that is? Do you know
ma'am.
what the Think of it as this protein inside of a cell. So when sulforaphane goes into a cell, I want you to visualize how food affects your body, like polyphenols. Like we have another antioxidant blend that's full of all these other polyphenol colors. That's that bright red one that has a whole bunch of different, polyphenols from mostly fruit. Now, the broccoli powder, what it has in it is something called sulforaphane, which will actually activate the NRF2 system, which is the master protein inside of a cell that turns on the alarm for anti-inflammatory things to happen at the DNA level. So then this is where we get most of our benefits from, eating broccoli: the anti-cancer, the anti-inflammatory, the joint pain support, the increase in glutathione production. So all these things, not only does it activate the NRF2 system, but it also dampens the NF-kappa B, which I call NF-kappa bad. The B doesn't really stand for bad, but it is a bad guy because it causes a lot of pro-inflammation. So if you're eating sugar and your sugar levels are high, this is what you're activating, NF-kappa B. So the sulforaphane, and the way we combine it, this is just the science behind it. The way we combine our broccoli seed extract is we combine it with an enzyme that breaks down the compound in broccoli to turn it into the active compound sulforaphane that actually does all the work. So this is like high level, next level technology. This is not just another broccoli supplement. This is so good. I take it because, I don't want to have to deal with cancer in my life, to be honest with you.
Definitely not.
So I do a lot of anti-inflammatory things. I also don't want my dogs to have, this. So I actually take one capsule and I open it up and just put a little tiny sprinkle of it. Like one capsule for my 22-pound dog will last probably 10 days. I'm not telling people to do that. This is not its indication. However, I want my dog to have something like this on a regular basis. So I definitely do that. I also give my dog a little, omega-3 and a little vitamin D and, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't want to find tumors on my dog. And that's such a common thing nowadays because of all the toxins they're exposed to, the pesticides and the grounds that they're walking on and all the stuff that they are exposed to that we're not even exposed to at a higher level. I just want them to have that built-in anti-inflammatory effects.
So how this pack, when mine arrives soon and I start taking these 4, I do this in the morning, noon, or night. When do you suggest?
We try to break it up so that you're getting sort of this anti-inflammatory effect 24/7. So we do some in the morning, some at night. And I have it packaged that way. So you're going to have an AM pack and a PM pack to take. Yeah.
Okay, so it'll come in one of these boxes like this, and it'll be
Yes.
it'll be marked with a sunshine or a moon, right?
That's right. Yes, that's right. So you take your morning in the morning and your evening in the evening. And you can take it with food. That always helps. And what I always tell people is don't allow yourself your first bite of breakfast until you've taken your AM pack. Don't allow yourself the first bite of dinner until you've taken your PM pack. And believe me, that works because so many of my patients want to be compliant, but they're like, oh, I keep forgetting my evening dose and or whatever. And it's you have to kind of play these little games. And so we call that habit stacking. We stack one thing that you do already on top of another so that you don't forget to take them.
Now,
But,
what
yeah,
about taking this
sure.
on an empty stomach in the morning? Is it going to bother me on an
It
empty
may
stomach?
it may bother you. You may have a little burping because as you would with any supplements, but ours in particular because they are going the capsules are going to dissolve almost immediately and they're going to be in their bioavailable state right away. So yeah, there's a lot to it. So I just say take it with a little bit of food. Now, if you don't want to take it with a whole meal, at least take it with a snack. And also, if you're fasting, try fasting earlier in the evening, not in the morning. And also, if you do like to fast breakfast, because a lot of people don't want to eat breakfast, then take your AM pack with lunch. That's fine too, as long as you're spreading it out.
Okay. And now this is a 30-day pack, right?
That's right.
So 30-day pack. Now you can order, we're just launching it right now. Worldview Vitamins with an S. We decided to add the S. We took a survey of the guys in the control room. Everybody, except for one oddball, did not want the S. Can we say who the oddball was?
Worldview Vitamins.
But we decided to add the S. Worldview Vitamins.
Who was the
guy
one?
that said no S, Logan? Was it Thomas? It was Thomas. I mean, who says I need to take my vitamin today? Isn't it usually I need to take my vitamins? Plural?
Well, probably because of myvitamin.com. That's probably why. But that's, but we're doing worldviewvitamins.com. Definitely. I just want to point out too, there's turmeric in this particular pack. And, everyone knows turmeric is great for anti-inflammatory, great for joint pain. It's actually my go-to for joint pain for people that, and along with a couple other little things. But it's so powerful for inflammation. But one thing, a big, huge difference with ours, again, this is the technology behind the high-grade supplement, is that we combine it with some oils that are naturally found in turmeric root that increase absorption and the half-life of the curcuminoid in your body. So it has a longer effect for a longer period of time. That is really rare. I have not seen anything else like it. A lot of turmerics are combined with something like black pepper, which does increase absorbability, but this really outperforms it. These are the kinds of things that we put the technology behind the supplements. Also, it crosses the blood-brain barrier because, one of the reasons why a lot of people love turmeric is in addition to the joint, the anti-inflammatory, it's also great for your brain, especially if you're high risk for dementia.
Yeah, well, I don't want dementia. I don't want cancer, and I don't want dementia, and I don't want Alzheimer's, and I don't want Parkinson's. If I can get out of this life without those four, that would be great, right?
This is why I actually take all these in addition to the foundational myself because, and then there's NAC in there. Of course, NAC is a precursor. It's a rate limiting step to making glutathione. So it's a precursor to glutathione. That's important. But also there's a study done with nursing home patients that were 65 years old and above, that those who took NAC, of all things, NAC, such an easy thing to do, NAC every day, they had a significant reduction in pneumonia cases. So it's also amazing for, it's amazing for your immune system. It's amazing for your, it's actually a natural mucolytic, so it breaks up mucus, so it keeps it nice and thin. So you're, and also great for respiratory things. So NAC is in there primarily because we're wanting the glutathione effect, because we want to make as much of that as we can every day naturally on our own. In addition, we can take it if we want to, but we definitely want to be making our body's number one antioxidant, which is the glutathione, which is also broccoli powder.
So when I'm squishing with my Numi, which is glutathione, this, in addition to getting it, this packet will be helping you produce it. So that should be a double whammy, right?
Yeah, because that glutathione, the reason why I don't recommend glutathione on a regular basis by itself is because it's not enough. The half-life is too short. So you want to take the glutathione plus the NAC together, because that way you're getting that load of glutathione, plus you're getting your body's ability to make it. And that sulforaphane also adds to the overall, from the broccoli powder, also adds to your overall production of the glutathione as well. Wow. So lots of good things in there. We can talk forever about it because I love, all the toxins you're exposed to. Your standard American diet, high blood sugars, toxins with pesticides, herbicides, toxins with, the makeup that you're putting on your face, or, the phthalates in the makeup, or the plastics. Like this is glass, and my straw is even glass. I try to do as zero plastics as I possibly can on a daily basis. So don't drink out of plastic bottles, or, even if I'm desperate, I'd rather drink water and use a life straw if I have to at least, get the toxins out of the, when I'm traveling, that kind of thing. So anyway, just decreasing overall toxic load, but also your body's going to be exposed to it. And the more antioxidants you do for your body, the more you're literally increasing that, almost like a vacuum cleaner inside your body, sucking up all the toxins and getting rid of it faster. I cannot tell you how important that is. Maybe our next visit, we can talk about how we can make more bile naturally. Like dandelion root tea, that's a part of the cycle of teas that I drink, because that makes your body make more bile. So then you're able to get rid of more toxins more efficiently. For example, anything you can do to reduce toxic load in your body allows your own body to heal and restore itself better. And this is why I put that broccoli in there and made the price go up, because I'm not going to hold back. It's what I do. And so I do it for my animals too. Obviously I do it for my husband, my kids, when they take them.
Amazing.
The kids don't
And by the way, not only do we have this here now, but also we put it up later at Worldview Tube, but it's also going on our health channel, worldviewtube.com/health. That's our 24-hour day health channel that is nothing but interviews with Dr. Bashima, Dr. Lana, all these other great folks we work with in the health industry, the Make America Healthy Again industry. It's a great, great community. And we got these 24 hours a day, and the traffic on it has really been surprising. So a lot of people love just one interview like this after another. So this will go up pretty quick too at worldviewtube.com/health. So by tonight, I should have my meter in, hooked to my smartphone. So Logan will get that done. And by next week, we should have a conversation. So, because I can just start sending you screenshots of all my blood work.
Yeah, totally.
Blood. Okay, I'll start sending you screenshots, and then we'll have plenty to talk about on the air next week.
Yeah, anytime you don't understand why your blood sugar is what it is, just send me a quick little message.
Okay.
And show me your screenshot, and then I'll be like, what did you just eat? But you can also do the grape juice experiment. Drink some grape juice, watch your blood sugars go up. Hour and a half later, you're going to be crashing, looking for that cheese.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Sorry. That's how it is. I'm so glad. I didn't know this when my kiddos were little, but I knew that juice wasn't good for you because it was such a high concentration of sugar. So I never gave them juice.
Juice boxes? You weren't doing juice boxes?
Never, ever. And so, so it was funny because they don't even like it right now. Like they grew up not having it, so they don't like it right now. I'm like, thank God I did that right. So,
well, I'm sure there's a lot more you did right. I got addicted to grape juice, not from my Baptist church communion. I got addicted to my grape juice at my in-laws. My in-laws are like health nuts before health nuts was cool. Kind of like Barbara Mandrell. She was country before country was cool. My mother-in-law's never had a microwave. Okay. She's 80-something years old.
Good.
Never had a microwave. And everything you wanted when I went to her house, you had to heat it up in the oven. So you want something, it's like you better wait 30 minutes for the oven to heat up. So no microwave. She was always telling us, don't drink out of plastic. I'm talking 35 years ago, right? She's bringing her filtered water with her in glass jars. And all these things she was doing, and I'm like, I don't know. And it turns out everything she was doing is what exactly you're talking about and others are talking about. She was way ahead of her curve.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, there is.
But I got addicted to grape juice at their house because they love grape juice.
And there is, and I just want to be clear, there is, resveratrol and other polyphenols in the grape juice that are good for you. So I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, she's talking bad about grape juice. But what we're talking specifically about, its effects on blood sugars.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the effects on the blood sugars are so much more worse than any benefits that I've seen in my practice with my patients who do the juices. Now, a lot of people will juice lemon, ginger, and maybe cucumber and kale and lettuce and have this green sunshine. I call it the green sunshine juice. That's okay because those are all very low glycemic foods. But when you add a fruit to it, an apple, now you've just upped the ante with the sugar a lot. And that's where you're going to see the effects, the inflammatory
But it also
effects.
impacts your weight gain, because doesn't that turn into sugar, which adds to weight gain?
Anything that causes oxidative stress, which is what the antioxidant pack is going against, anything that causes oxidative stress will make weight gain also more easier because of inflammation. That's also why all of these endocrine disrupting compounds, the plastics that are binding permanently to these endocrine receptors like insulin. And then it causes a natural a state of insulin resistance because if estrogen receptors, any endocrine organ receptor, if that receptor is bound by a piece of plastic, there's no way your natural hormone is going to be able to work on it because it can't get in. So you're blocking the doors to a lot of the work that your hormones are doing when you're exposed to all these toxins. You got to get them out fast.
Yep.
Got to
Fascinating.
have a good liver system. So
Next week, we're going to be showing some charts of my blood spikes and having a good time. Soon, the blood work will come in, and we're going to find out if I'm actually from this world, from this planet, or not. That's what Logan was saying over lunch. What if your blood work comes back and you're not human? So, Dad, what happens? So anyway, I think it'll come back.
I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see it. So
sorry to tell you, Brendan, you got 4 weeks to live. So
No.
anyway, that's not going to happen. I mean, look at me.
yeah.
Right. By the way, you want to see
right.
you want to see my pride and joy? Can we go to my pride and joy? Pull that lower third down. There she is. Look at her sleeping comfortably. Can you pull the lower? You're blocking her head.
Yes, I see her.
There she is.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
I wish I could show you mine. Mine is like over there underneath a bench.
Oh, that wasn't
she's-
her head. That's her rear end I was blocking. All
Yeah,
right.
that was her butt. Yeah,
it
I
was
see her head hanging
Yeah,
down.
I'm looking at a monitor
Yep.
and I can't see very easily. But
Yeah.
yeah, she likes to sleep off the bed for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, I
She
love
sleeps
that.
right in between Melissa and I. She sleeps with her back to me mostly. She starts out on her back because since she was a puppy, I would rub her stomach till she fell asleep since the first night I brought her home. So it's literally, here she is now. I've had her a year, August 17th. Oh, I've had her a year, I think it is. And she starts out every night on her back next to me because she wants her belly rubbed till she goes to sleep. When I get up to go to the bathroom at night, she gets very excited when I come back to bed because that means she gets to flip over on her back and get her belly rubbed again till she falls asleep, which again was the pattern because I would get up, go to the bathroom, wake her up, and then I would go let her out and I have to try to get her back to sleep again. So I would put her on her back, rub her belly till she went to sleep. So this dog has been so conditioned, she can't fall asleep, she says, until she has her belly rubbed. So she loves to do that. But then after she's asleep, I don't know why she does it, she turns with her back to me and her feet out to Melissa. And all night long, she's pushing and stretching against her. And we have a line that goes down the center of our bed because I can adjust my bed, she can adjust her side. And we have a rule. You two stay over there. And Melissa's on her side with her mini schnauzers. And routinely, that dog likes to cross the line, but mostly she stretches about 25 times a night, pushes Melissa and wakes her up. And I hear about it all through the night. And if I had $1 for every time she says, "Dolly," in the middle of the night, I could retire.
Oh, no. Yeah,
But
I mean,
anyway.
that's causing a bad sleep wake cycle.
Yeah, she's
Right?
just
You
going to have
got
to
to get
live
the
with it.
dogs. You got to get the dogs off the bed. Sorry.
I have one that goes with the mini schnauzer. We have one mini schnauzer goes under the bed to sleep. Sleeps on a pet bed under the bed. That's because she doesn't like the ceiling fans. It's too cold.
Are the dogs in your bed because you guys like it or because you think the dogs like it?
Well, it's both, but the one mini schnauzer goes under the bed because she likes to get away from the ceiling fan. Dolly, I don't think she would whimper if I put her in the kennel. I have a kennel in the bedroom. I put her in there when we go somewhere, and she doesn't throw a fit. She'd sleep in there, but she much prefers to snuggle. I mean, most of my labs would lay at the foot of the bed. This is lab number 6. This
right
one
next to you.
has to be right up next to you. She's very spoiled. But anyway, there you go. She's our pride and joy. I said to
We'll
Melissa
talk
last
about
night
sleep.
as we were falling asleep, I said, this dog, unlike my other labs, she came along after our kids were all grown, So it's like being raised by grandparents. She's like, I got this older couple, and there's no one else to share the attention but two other dogs. And she is more spoiled than any lab we've ever had. But that's mostly on us, not on her. But your kids are all grown. Don't you spoil your dogs?
You know, I do not. I used to love having the dog sleep in bed with us, but then I started realizing I think it's disrupting my sleep. So unfortunately, we had to get the dogs off the bed. But you know what? They don't care. They don't seem to care.
Are they in the room with you?
Yeah, they're in the room with us. So I have one bed. One of them sleeps on a bed right next to us, and then the other one sleeps in the closet on top of Mike's clothes. She loves Mike, my husband Mike. She just loves him so much, and so she just gets herself comfortable on top of his clothes, and she's happy.
So why is Mike's clothes on the ground?
Well, his dirty clothes.
Oh.
He puts them on the ground. That's his system. He has his own closet. I have my own closet. So I don't put my dirty clothes on the floor. They're in a hamper, but he puts them on the floor because, that's just how men are, I guess. Mm-hmm. I never asked him. But that's where Opal likes to sleep.
Yeah, I don't throw my dirty clothes on the floor, just for the record. So
yeah,
I throw them right in. I throw them right into the tub.
Oh,
they collect up in the tub, and then they just magically disappear. I don't know how it happens, and then they show up hanging up in my closet. Beautiful pressed shirts and pants, and I have no clue.
Like I said,
there's somebody is doing an amazing job because that tub, about every 4 or 5 days, is empty, and these shirts are pressed and pants are pressed and all back in the closet, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, you have an amazing wife.
I do, absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bashima.
Right, hey,
very excited about worldviewvitamins.com.
Me too. I'm excited.
All right, next week, folks, we'll be showing you my spikes on my blood sugar, and pretty soon my blood work. Aren't you excited? All right, thank you, Dr. Bashima. My vitamins, Worldview Vitamins, worldviewvitamins.com, and our new antioxidant super pack. We'll be right back after this break.
Looking for a trusted source to understand today's world through a Christian worldview? Worldview Tube is built on the 35 years of Worldview books, columns, research, and high-profile interviews of Brannon House. Want to know more about Worldview Tube, its founder, history, team, and mission? Visit worldviewtube.com/about. That's worldviewtube.com/about. Worldview Tube is your source for understanding the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Join me now is Chad and Katie Brewer, our friends from Lake of the Ozarks, because, folks, they're getting phone calls, and there are even people in this viewing audience from outside of the United States that are flying all the way here to the United States to go to their lovely, beautiful clinic that helps a lot of people, and I wanted to bring them on for a quick update. Guys, since we got back to highlighting you guys, the phones on your end have started to ring. Tell me about what people are calling about, we don't need to name the countries, but people even from other countries are coming in.
Yeah, it's just been amazing, Brandon. It's so neat speaking with your listeners from literally around the world. And it's amazing and sad that people have addictions. And it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or where you live or what country you come from, people are looking for hope. Mm-hmm. And talking to your guests or your listeners from all over, it's just been really neat connecting with people. And I think they feel really welcome too, because they realize that there's other people that are Christians and from around the world or around the country that are going through the same thing.
Indeed. And it can be everything from alcohol to an opioid crisis, whatever, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. In fact, we were listening to you the other night and you had that doctor on and you were talking about kind of what he termed the gas station heroin.
Yes.
Kratom, which we've been talking, we're like, we can't believe this isn't banned. And so forth. So yes, the kind of thing that we do can be effective for alcohol, things like kratom that work on the opiate receptors, people that want to get off Suboxone, that, maybe that served them for a time as they're medically assisted. Suboxone is actually a prescription medication that is considered medically assisted drug treatment. So if somebody's on heroin or some other kind of opiate, as a part of their getting off something that's very unsafe, or fentanyl that they could easily OD, as a part of the recovery process, they may be given Suboxone, which still works on their opiate receptors, but is considered safer for them. But once they get on it, they're also in chains to it. They've got to have it. So sometimes people are like, you know what, I feel like I am at a place where I don't want to use anymore. I don't need to use anymore. And I'm in chains to this, because like an opiate, it can have a real withdrawal symptom. And so we see people for things like that as well. Cocaine,
And
marijuana,
it's sad. It's sad, Brandon, because some of these people too have gotten on these medications because of an accident, or because of, they were prescribed this, or like you were mentioning, going into the gas station for a kratom. And it seems like just a non-addictive thing that's all over the counter, and people accidentally take it and then find themselves in the grips of it.
Mm-hmm. And I would think you might have some in the audience tonight that have children, kids in their 20s, grandchildren that have gotten addicted to those gas station drug gummies. And this is where your clinic and you two could step in and help, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to make sure everybody knows yours is outpatient. They come there to beautiful Lake of the Ozarks. You help, point them to maybe some housing to stay in. And they go there for a day, for what, 8 to 10 days, sit in a beautiful recliner with a flat screen TV, beautiful nursing staff, and they take IVs of what? What are they getting an IV of?
They're getting vitamins, antioxidants, and our brain restoration formula. And that's really what makes us different. We see people all the time that perhaps they've been to a program before where they were under lock and key. They had lots of groups and therapy, but what didn't happen was that repair to the brain. That
in other words, nothing that stopped the craving. A lot of talk, a lot of group therapy, but nothing that got to the issue of my brain craves this, my body craves this. And what you're talking about with the brain restoration IV is it actually takes away the craving. And of course, Chad, this is what you went through. And
yeah, Brandon, I had tried everything else. And that's the thing. When Katie had found this 10 years ago for me, I thought it was hocus pocus. I didn't believe in it. I didn't think anything could get the thought of alcohol out of my mind. I would wake up, it's the first thing I thought about. How am I going to hide it from Katie? What do I need to get done till I can start drinking? And this thing literally saved my life, because I no longer have those cravings. I no longer wake up worrying about what do I have to do till I can start drinking. It's just something that's different that wasn't in any other treatments. The other treatments just kept you locked away, but didn't address the chemical changes that happen in your brain.
Mm-hmm. And your success rate's pretty high, like 80-something% or higher?
It really is. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody makes their own choices, but it really is considerably higher than traditional rehab. And what I think the biggest thing is people who have tried going through rehab before and not been successful, this gives them hope. It's different. It's not like what you've done before. It addresses those chemical changes. And Katie and I are more than happy to sit down and talk with anybody that are struggling right now. There's no need to feel bad or guilty or whatever. People are going through this, and we truly believe that this is something that Satan uses just to keep a grip on people, to keep us from doing what God has called us to do.
And again, it oftentimes takes, 3, 4, 5 conversations with Katie or you before they're ready, some of them, to make a commitment, right?
It does.
Oh, you bet. And a lot of times that first conversation is actually with a loved one, a parent, a spouse, just, maybe a listener tonight that hears us talking and they're like, wow, this would be great for my husband, my daughter, whatever. And that first conversation is often with that person.
Well, we just got, Melissa handles customer support and donor relations, and we have a gentleman that texted us, or text Melissa, and said, I need the number for the couple that has the wellness company, or the New Spring Wellness Center. My wife has said, that's it. She's done. That I've got to go. I've got to go and get help. She's at the end of her rope. She's done with this. She's not dealing with this anymore. and she's giving me an ultimatum. And so, can you provide me with the contact information for that couple? And so we gave them your number, and it sounds like he has reached out to you. It even sounds like
I spoke to him. Yes.
and he's
yes.
coming to your clinic.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So, folks, start with the conversation. Sometimes maybe it's the family member who needs to say, "Hey, here's what my family member is dealing with. What do you recommend?" And you talk it out, and then get them on the phone. And it may take a few conversations. And it's, in other words, from the time that you receive the first phone call from a family member or them to the time they actually show up to you at Lake of the Ozarks, it could be 4 or 5 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's every situation's different. Everybody's under. We try to accommodate folks that come up from out of town. Honestly, 85% of our patients are from outside this area, so we try to accommodate them. We look at their schedule and our availability and try to work it out. But I guess the biggest thing is you're not alone out there, guys. If you're struggling with something and have lost hope because you didn't think anything would work, give us a call.
And usually after about day 5 on the IV, the cravings are starting to just completely disappear from most people.
It's a little different. That's what it was for me, Brandon, where I physically felt like almost fog lifting from my head. And I started thinking clear. You got to understand.
I saw it with him. Chad is super creative and super passionate, but there was definitely some years there with that where the alcohol just was squelching so much of who God's made him to be and those characteristics. And I could see that, what I termed that light bulb going on, where I could tell he was starting to think differently. It was really kind of cool.
Wow. But if you have someone watching tonight who's like, look, no, we're in an emergency here. I can't wait 4 or 5 weeks. This sounds like something we need to do. We need to do something like quick. You can take some people like within the next day or two. You could start working them in if there was an emergency like that, right?
Yeah, we can get them in. We can work with our doctor and work with our medical staff to make sure there's availability and that we can take a person. But yeah, the first thing is just give us a call and we'll do the best we can to accommodate anybody.
Okay, so there's no obligation, no fee to talk. It's free to call and free to talk to Katie and Chad. Begin the conversation for yourself or your loved one. This is a great couple. They've been friends of ours now for a few years and come to our Worldview weekends. Are you going to be exhibiting at our one in Memphis this year?
We plan on being there. We can't wait.
Good. So you guys can come and meet Chad and Katie in person. 573, what is that? 693-1977. Do I have that right?
That's
it. You got
593-693-1977. Or newspringwellnesscenter.com, newspringwellnesscenter.com. Tell them you heard about it through Worldview 2, Brennan House Live. We appreciate that. And guys, you're doing great work. And, we hear from some of the folks, our folks who are watching and who just simply say, I had a back pain. I broke my back. I did this. I got on that. Now I'm addicted to it. I got to get off. It started out as just I was a social drinker over the years. Then it turned into something more. And, almost all of our people that contact us, they are Christian. They are committed Christians. Right. They just fell into a problem. And, we're not, as Christians, we're not immune to these problems either, are we?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they want to get it fixed for themselves, for their family members. And so it's been really rewarding to hear how you guys have helped our viewers. So thank you for taking good care of them.
Thank you, Brandon. It's been great to get to know you and your family and your listeners. It's just been a really neat experience, and they're wonderful to talk with.
And you've even had, because you have private rooms. So when they show up there, they're going to have a private room with their own recliner, flat screen TV with Roku. They watch whatever they want. And there's a nurse. You have a nurse, and you have a doctor. And so they're not going to be in a big old room with a bunch of other people. They're going to have a private room. And Chad, you bring them usually breakfast and lunch, don't you?
We do. We have a good time. We had our last rotation of patients. They were up helping me cook, and one from California and Texas and Seattle. And it's a good group of people.
Yeah,
we are an intimate program, so we do. We get to know each other.
It's like going to a spa. It's not sterile. It's not going to some cold medical facility. Right. It's like going to a high-end spa with individual private rooms, and he's bringing you breakfast and lunch and waiting on you. And he'll sit and visit with you if you want to visit, because you're sitting there with an IV in your arm, and he'll sit and visit with you. You want to visit with him, right?
That's right.
He does.
That's right.
He's very much an extrovert. So he's very good at reading. No, this guy wants to be left alone, or this guy wants to be left alone. No, they want to talk, and he can share his story and encourage them along the way. And you guys, and you got the nicest staff. Your doctor, I've met her. She's sweet. Of course, I have my favorite nurse there at your clinic. She's
Bristol.
wonderful.
Yeah. She asks about you all the time.
Comes to our Worldview weekends when we have them in the Ozarks. But anywho, we highly recommend these guys, folks. So get a hold of them, 573-693-1977 or newspringwellnesscenter.com, and get the conversation going. I hear some of them that come in there that are our folks sit in their recliner and watch Worldview Tube all day. Is that right?
Absolutely. We got it right there on the TV for them.
I've heard their permission. You've even put me on the phone with one or two of them while they were there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they were so excited. They love that.
And that was fun to encourage them and to hear their own personal story and how the treatment was going and how they were feeling. And it was great. So that's happened a couple times. I don't know who goes to them, just so you guys know. They don't share with me. They wouldn't do it, and I don't ask. But they have put one or two people on the phone with me to visit with them, and it's been great to do that. So thank you for taking good care of our folks.
Oh,
our pleasure. My gosh.
Check it out, folks. NewSpringWellnessCenter.com or 573-693-1977. Chad and Katie Brewer. Start the phone call and the conversation tonight. So there you go. All right, guys, that's our broadcast for tonight. Boy, we crammed a lot in there, didn't we? Thank you again for your support. Vital we have your support to keep pushing out free programming. Remember all the channels we have, brought to you in part by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. We have Worldview Tube, the mainstream. Then we have worldviewtube.com/health. 24 hours a day of great health news and information, home and health. Then we have worldviewtube.com/Bible. 24 hours a day of Bible teaching. Then worldviewtube.com/prophecy. 24 hours a day, Bible prophecy teaching. All free. Brought to you as a ministry and public service of, in part, our foundation. Worldviewfoundation.com. Worldviewfoundation.com. That's our sponsor, and it brings us these things. So please, and of course, our foundation helps us put on our church service every Sunday night. That is our church service. Our foundation is our church. Worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you so much, and thanks for watching. May God save America. Take care. Tonight on the Worldview Report, President Trump warns the EU that he will hit them with new tariffs if they refuse to follow through on promised business investments in America. The White House is preparing a new executive order that would punish big banks that discriminate against conservatives and crypto companies. The state of Texas has requested the help of the FBI in tracking down and arresting rogue Democrat lawmakers who fled the state, all in an effort to sabotage a critical redistricting vote. And the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced on Tuesday that it will terminate all contracts for the development of new mRNA injections, canceling 22 projects worth nearly $500 million. Congress has subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify on their involvement in the Epstein affair. And the United Kingdom is urging Brits to stock up on basic supplies, as a poll revealed more than 1 in 10 don't have enough to last even a single day in the event of a crisis. All these stories and more as the Worldview Report begins right now.
This is Worldview Report with host Brandon House. Whether it is news from the nation's capital or your state capital, from the classroom to the boardroom, from national security to national and local news that impacts you and your family, Worldview Report is your trusted source for vital and uncensored news. And now, here is Brandon House.
Good evening, and welcome to the Worldview Report. Leading off tonight, President Trump threatened the European Union on Tuesday with higher U.S. tariffs if the 27-nation bloc does not follow through on its promise to invest $600 billion in the U.S. Remember, in July, President Trump and the EU reached the, contract of a preliminary trade deal that includes a 15% tariff on most imports from the trading bloc, along with a commitment to invest $600 billion in the U.S. and purchase $750 billion worth of American energy. When asked on CNBC's Squawk Box what happens if the EU balks at the investment commitment, Trump said they will pay a deep price, adding, quote, then they pay tariffs of 35%. They brought down their tariffs, so they paid $600 billion. And because of that, I reduced their tariffs from 30% down to 15%, end quote. That's what President Trump said. And then, quote, they gave me $600 billion, and that's a gift. They gave us $600 billion that we can invest in anything we want, end quote. Few details have been made available about the $600 billion investment commitment, including how it would work or which sectors the EU would target for investment. President Trump said the $600 billion would be invested, quote, in anything I want, end quote. When asked for specifics, he said, quote, anything. I can do anything I want with it. And the purpose was they've been ripping us off for so many years that it's time they pay up, and they have to pay up, end quote. Zero Hedge reports that the White House is preparing a new executive order that would punish big banks that discriminate against conservatives and crypto companies. A draft of the order was seen by the Wall Street Journal, and it directs bank regulators to investigate whether any financial institutions may have violated the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, antitrust laws, or consumer financial protection laws, with violators facing monetary penalties. That's consistent with decrees or other disciplinary measures according to the draft. People familiar with the executive order, they told the Journal that it could be signed as soon as this week, though the order could become delayed or the administration's plans, they may change. The Wall Street Journal writes, quote, the draft order doesn't name any specific banks, but appears to refer to any instance where Bank of America was accused of shutting down the account